What's all that noise? I'm scared. Baby, don't be scared. It's gonna be alright. It's just the Lord doing His work.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a second. How are you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, you ready for a good talk tonight?
Lord knows that I'm blessed, yeah. So never will you see me stressed, no.
I feel like a lot of people can relate to tonight's topic.
No. So never will you see me stressed, no.
Dang.
Lord knows that I'm blessed, no. So never will you see me stressed, no. Never will you see me stressed, no. So never will you see me stressed, no.
All right, everybody get started. Just got to get some last minute things squared away. Get this chat on here. And let's get to it. Yeah.
I can really see plan B in the plans. Long as I can plant my feet in the land, that's a reason for me to believe I'll advance. These are the dreams not seen on the ground. All I needed was a chance. Another night
World
for me
Meta
to
Beats was
cram.
good.
Life
Cyril,
can give me that exam, and I can pass with either hand. You can get what you command. Just make a new list of demands. I say my mantras in my chants. Get my prayer from my mama and my aunt. I already know what they saying. Look at the clock, it ain't no time for layings. But that is your bed that you made, so you layin'. I look at my watch and I know what I'm facing. It ain't
Low-key
no delaying.
Jimmy,
I'm not
what's
for the
good,
blame.
fam?
Swerving my lane and you won't hear complaining. They talking about
Looking forward to
crime, but
talking
I feel
to you.
divine, cause I am alive. Yes, I feel amazing. I know you're talking dry like a raisin. Give a little time, I find I'm your favorite. I don't need signs to shine on occasion. Plus I don't mind, I got a little patience. This is your time.
All right, let's get to it.
They can't deny that this is your time. This is your time. This is your time. They can't deny that this is your time. You in the line, you better go shine. You in the line, you better go shine.
Turn this down a little bit. T-Sketch, what's the deal, sis? All right, so first of all, I'm coming in super hot. Let me turn myself down a little bit. All right, so let's talk about how this topic came to be. I've done videos about this in the past. I feel like I've done multiple videos about this. What's going on, Casey? I've done multiple videos. Oh, you like that? Low-key Jimmy, you see the drip. You see it. You feel me? $100,000 on a sweater, $100K on a sweater, $200K on the wrist. You see the drip. I'm just playing. What's up, Pearl? So this topic of age in hip hop has been one that we've addressed multiple times throughout the years. It has been one that the older I get, the more aware of it I am, and the more that I change my perspective on it. I don't think I was ever a young artist that hated on the older heads. I never was that artist. I might have been the artist that was disappointed in the old heads for not sharing their knowledge and telling me what's further up the road. I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them in the very beginning until I met the right OGs. I was a little bit disappointed in the knowledge that I felt like I was getting from interviews from a lot of these rappers that I've looked up to. And we're talking about the other ecosystem, and I'll talk about that in a second as well. But the traditional music industry, I think, has made it to where age has always been a factor in hip hop in much a different way than any other genre. You still see, this is the age-old argument, you still see rock bands who sell out stadiums, the Kisses, the Rolling Stones, and such. And ageism isn't really a thing, which leads me to believe it's also a cultural thing underneath it. And I even think that it reaches up to sports as well. As you talk about somebody like LeBron James and, people kind of trying to move him out of his way and not add to his legacy. And, kind of usher in the Ja Morants, who he's always embraced, same way as me. I always embrace the young energy within my audience. But there was a statement made, I believe, on Clubhouse by 21 Savage, who's a younger rapper, very popular rapper, who basically made the argument that Nas, legendary Nas, the one I named my son after, Nas is like Illmatic, Nas, is no longer relevant in hip-hop. And even though he makes good music in the current with Hit Boy, shout out Hit Boy, it is not relevant. I'm assuming, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm assuming he means to a younger audience. And that he is basically thriving off of his fan base that he's had since his beginning. That was the argument. He said it. Bunch of folks went crazy at him. Oh man, of course you would think. Even somebody who's of his class, like Kodak Black, was like, no. Kodak Black was like, look, I don't rap like Nas, but damn it, I know Nas's relevance. And it's really interesting how it's once again wrapped around this age argument. Now, I said something earlier, and I want to break two things down. I had two epiphanies over the last week when talking to my private Patreon audience, my Patreon group, family. I had two ideas about this industry, and I think it's going to help put everything into context as I start to ask you guys the questions, because this is a Community Gems episode. Hello, Community Gems episode. But here's two theories that I have. Two theories that I have about hip-hop as it is. I believe that hip-hop as it is operating in two ecosystems. The independent and the major label. Two different ecosystems. Inside the ecosystem that is the major label, the demographic is ideally younger. The demographic and even the rules about how to operate your business, your music business, is completely different because that's a different ecosystem. The standards are different. The levels of disrespect are different. The levels of respect are different because they award their ecosystem with Grammys and things like that to celebrate their own. That's their ecosystem. I like to now think of what we do as independent artists and music producers as a completely, what's going on, Dexter? As a completely different ecosystem. The things that we get in terms of celebrations are a lot different than a red carpet Grammy event. But it doesn't mean that our celebrations are irrelevant. Our celebrations are when we get a plaque, for instance, when I got the #1 hip hop album on the iTunes hip hop charts. Hello. I have to celebrate that myself. I don't get the Recording Academy to hit me up and tell me, congratulations on your iTunes feat. It doesn't happen. I have to celebrate it, and we have to celebrate it by buying our own plaques and doing the things. And I shouldn't say we have to, but we should, because it's a celebration of our accomplishments. Even being do-it-yourselfers, we don't get a huge applause for that. It's kind of like some people look down on that when you're doing everything yourself. Your team is smaller. So that was the first epiphany. The second epiphany I had was from my friend Noah James, who obviously you've seen him on this channel before. Amazing rapper, even more amazing human being. He showed me a difference between an underground artist and an independent artist as it applies to today. And I'm going to say how this all relates to the topic at hand. He said that there was a lot of artists that we grew up listening to that were classified as underground, but it was only because of their status, their lack of popularity, but they weren't necessarily independent. And I'm trying to do this without naming names because I don't know people's situations and my content is not about other people. But there's a lot of artists that we look at as legendary in this sphere of independence, but they had teams. They had somebody that was in charge of their PR. They had somebody that was in charge of all these different aspects. And it's not that alone that makes them not as independent as the traditional artists. It's the fact that they didn't know how to do any of these things. They didn't wear multiple hats. They just rapped. And they were given the luxury to just rap, and their status was still underground. But he made the argument that there's a difference between underground and a difference between independent. Independent artists and producers, we do a lot of this stuff by ourselves. And if we're hiring people, we're probably having independent contractors. We're probably having people that we just know by relationship, and we're putting money into their pockets, right? But it's out of our pockets, out of our job money or whatever we make. And that's the way we operate. So there's even a difference in our ecosystem. That's our ecosystem, underground, independent. That's our ecosystem. Where I believe, and I want to start hearing your opinions on this soon when I drop this Zoom link, what I believe is that within that ecosystem, the major label ecosystem, age is everything. Because they're trying to reach a demographic which gives them a longer span of time to promote to, since the taste of young music listeners changes so drastically from 17 to 20 to 20 to 24 and 24 to 28 and into the 30s. It changes so drastically that they're trying to make as much money as they can for an artist that appeals to that demographic. And once you stop appealing to that young demographic, well, then the priorities change with you. Age doesn't matter in an independent world. In our ecosystem, underground, independent, whatever you might be classified as, it doesn't matter in our ecosystem, especially not now. And I think the confusion comes when we try to mix ecosystems and we're trying to compare independent ecosystem with the major label ecosystem, and they're two completely different worlds. You know how I view the major label ecosystem? It's like a haunted house. Stay with me. It's like a haunted house with a long line. A lot of people are standing there with aspirations of becoming the next whoever, becoming the biggest thing that ever happened, right? And they're looking at the top of this mansion, or this haunted mansion. They're looking at the top and they see Jay-Z, right? They see the elites, even those that have passed away. They see things in their memory. That's the music industry. Also in this haunted house, you see an exit. You see an exit where people are walking out of this mansion who have gone through this haunted mansion called the music industry, and they're deprived of life. Their bags are worse than mine. They're down to the floor. They look depleted. Matter of fact, some of those people that you saw go inside this haunted house don't get to come out because they do not live to tell about it. As you're waiting in the line, though, people are still excited to go in this same haunted house that we've heard millions and millions of stories. TLC movies, the Temptation movies, the NWA movies. We've seen it over 1,000,000 times. Matter of fact, if you look up at the windows of this haunted house, people are literally yelling out the windows, "I'm suicidal! I hate my deal! I don't want to make music anymore for these people!" They're literally putting it in the music. And it's rolled out. It has a campaign behind it, but yet and still, people want to find out for themselves. So this is where I feel like there needs to be a separation between what ecosystem we're talking about, and if we start to think about what ecosystem we're in, our concerns about getting up there in age should shift along with that, at least in theory. I think some of us are going to feel the way they feel. And I see some of you mentioning rappers that are in that age bracket that are doing really successful. You know, it's hard sometimes to mention the same names, though. The Tech Nines, the Jay-Z's, because once again, these are the 1 percentile. the small 1 percentile. There's a good chance none of us in here are the next JC. And that's a good thing. It needs to be a first you. But they represent such a small microcosm. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the person right now that has quit their job and is working full time on their music. That is accessible. That is accessible to every single one of you. That is accessible. I'm talking about that. In this ecosystem, that is accessible. And it does not matter what your age is, because now we're living in a time where people who relate to your message will find you. If you're doing your job, if you're staying consistent on social media, guess what? People your age, my age, they hang out on social media. And if you're telling a story that is relevant to their lives, guess what? They'll tap in because you're telling a story that is relevant to their lives. But if you're, say for instance, like me, I'm 37, getting ready to turn 38 next year. If you're telling the same stories you were telling when you're 17, of course you don't have an audience that can relate to that. Because either knowingly or unknowingly, even with folks who think like they're 17-year-olds, who operate like that, don't want to admit that. And you existing kind of like goes against that. If they want youthful energy, they're not going to come to your older ass, excuse me. I'm talking about myself now. They're going to come to somebody who's actually that age and has that natural, vibrant energy of that age. So those are my initial points on this. I can't wait to talk to you guys. And I'm going to try to be as quick as I can. I shouldn't say quick. I want to make sure we nail home some points, but I want to make sure I talk to as many of you as possible because, sometimes I do be playing a little favoritism. I see somebody I ain't seen in a minute and I get excited, or somebody makes a really good point and I kind of want to keep it going. But yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, then also too, while you guys are here, do me a favor. Could you hit that like button? Could you hit that like button? And then we're gonna get to it. I'm gonna get this link here ready for you guys to jump in here with me. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say, ladies and gentlemen. This is, after all, Community Gems. And the purpose of Community Gems is to hear what you have to say. You guys have been hearing from me for years. For years. Now it's time to hear your thoughts. Join us at this Zoom link. All right, so here's the Zoom link. I'm going to go ahead and pin this. Telling you now, you come with the trollery, you're not going to last. We're not here for that. We're here for productive conversations that move the culture forward. Anything else is a distraction. Anything else is actually agent energy. It's actually agent energy. That's agent energy. That's disruptor energy. You know what I'm saying? That's awkward. We're having productive conversations about the culture. First person up is my sis, the one and only T Sketch, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a little second to join in here. T Sketch. T Sketch. What's the deal, T? Hold on, let me make sure I transition this. Oh, what's the deal? I can't hear you. Where you at? I think you might be muted. You know us producers, we be having something.
What's good?
There it go. T Sketch. What's good, sis?
What's good, big bro?
I can't call it. In here talking, you know what I'm saying? In here talking that boomer talk. You feel me?
I'm sorry. Listen, I had to click that link real quick, man. Real quick.
Talk to me, T. What do you feel about this age issue? This age-old age discussion that occurs in hip-hop. What are your thoughts on that, T?
I got several thoughts, but salute to the community. Much love. What's up, y'all? Okay, so first thing. So let's say people actually listen to this. You're too old, right?
Yeah.
We would lose out on artists evolving greatness. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean when you say that?
Meaning, like, let's say somebody says, oh, nah, I'm too old. Let's say at 25, 30, right?
Right.
How would we experience the evolving greatness that they would give us?
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
Another thing.
Maybe I should backtrack one step though, because you kind of jumped in there, and I'm glad you did, because it makes me have an opportunity to pose this. Why do you think it matters so much to us? Because I know 20-year-olds who feel like, damn, I got to get this going, or it's over for me. Like, I used to feel like that when I was in my 20s, and when I got 30, I was like, if I don't blow up by 30, then everything is all over. Why do you think that exists?
Well, I feel like that's been a narrative for so long within our community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why. So then we put that on us, and that's just something that we have to get rid of it. And there is a separation of ecosystem. So if we're going to talk in general, because I know there's a separation as far as indie and major and stuff like that, right? First of all, other genres, they don't bring this topic up. They just don't.
Why do you think that is? Just in your opinion. You don't have to have the answer, but what do you think that is?
Maybe because they say it's hip hop. So like you can only be hip if you're young, maybe. I don't know.
That's a good point.
I also feel like you wouldn't have a blueprint to build your career from. Because if we're watching these artists and they're walking in their path and they start from young and they get old in their career,
right?
You know what I'm saying? We have something where like, oh, okay, so I might, not to say we're going to walk in the same path, but like, we're like, okay, I'm going to try to do my thing like this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, hip hop has grown too.
Yeah.
There's a space for everybody to do their thing. And so if you tell me, because I have people tell me that, oh, you still rapping. By the way, I am 41, and yes, I still rap, and I will rap, and I will be a rapping granny.
Talk
I don't
your
care
ish.
What anybody
Talk
says.
your ish,
I don't
sis.
care.
Talk that.
I don't care, because the thing is like, so you're telling me that, oh, because I'm older, I have to stop listening? So if I'm older, I have to stop rapping. Do I have to stop listening to hip hop too? No, I grew up with it. I will not.
Hello.
Okay. What else? I have points. Oh, with age comes more experience to pull from.
Okay.
Come on, fam.
Yep.
Come on, fam. I'm not saying young kids can't go through things, because they do. I feel like everybody needs to live. There's just too much, oh, you can't. And I feel like that also stems from the control, the trolling. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you how to walk your path. I'm going to tell you what you need to do, when you ain't got no right to tell anybody to do anything.
None
you know
whatsoever.
What I'm saying? It's the same thing like the trolling energy when they come into the live and be like, yo, why are you using the 808? Oh, why are you using? Come on. Like, I don't want to hear that.
We've seen it. We've seen it a million times. So
let me cook.
So how do we, because we know at the end of the day, we can't control internet energy. We can control it in terms of blocking folks. We can have moderators and do all this stuff. But how do we control our emotions in it, since that's the one thing that we can't control? Because there's a lot of people who do get hypersensitive to hearing about, hey, you're getting up in age. And it's not just the trolls. Sometimes it's family that is doing that as well. Most times it's family like, damn, you still going after that thing.
But that's real life trolling, big bro. That's real life trolling. It's not just, we have trolls in life that are family and friends. How is that not it? They're like, oh, let me write your narrative for you. No, give me my pen back, bro. Yeah. It's my story. I'm going to write it.
Yeah, that's a great
You know
point.
What I'm saying?
Great
so
point.
Like, I show love to no matter what. I feel like if you got dope music, it's dope music. Whether you're young, old, whether I can't understand the language, it's a vibe. It's a freaking vibe.
Yeah.
Everybody's so focused on what everybody's doing. How about you cook up, create, drop your ish? It don't even matter. Because if you're gonna listen to somebody to say, oh, you're too young or too old, then you're not built for it. Then that means you don't really want it. That means your passion ain't deep enough to keep going. You can't let people get in your head. You know what I'm saying? I let that happen to me. That's why I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, those are my thoughts. I had all this rush of thoughts. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get on before I forget.
No, it's all good. Was there any other point that you wanted to make? Because I think you overstated, and I love the fact that I was able to get you in here first on this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just something that I feel like I'm just tired of hearing it, and I know it's still gonna happen. Mm-hmm. And the same thing, it's like, who asked 21 to say that? Like, does that stem from the fact that you're mad that he dropped at the same time as you? Are you trolling? Because remember, like you said, there is a catalyst to get people to talk. Mm-hmm. So maybe he don't feel like that, and he just popped that ish because he knew people were going to be trending. Oh, 21 said this and 21 said that.
See, I tell you this, the first time I saw it, the first thing I thought about was wrestling. And I was like, you know what? Whenever I find myself getting irritated by something someone says in hip hop, especially in that other ecosystem, I have to remember that's part of somebody's rollout. That's part of somebody's business plan. And my anger, my reaction to it only helps that cause. So if I get verbal about it, even this, I could have made this clickbait and said, do you agree with 21? But I'm not about to blow I'm not about to do no kind of assistance. You don't need my help to give you no assistance to blow up that project he got with Drake. But I do feel like a lot of this stuff is the usual rollout. You saw it. Like, it's dope to see how Kodak Black has evolved. But at one point in time, he was like, you know, saying the same thing about Tupac to a certain degree. We don't forget it, which leads me also to believe, and this is my last foil conspiracy theory, and I'm gonna let you in on that. This is my last foil brain conspiracy theory. The labels are telling them to do that. The labels are telling them to do that.
Listen, it's the algorithm don't know the difference. Right? They don't. The algorithm, if you hit it, if you look at it, it's the same thing. Whether it's negative or positive energy, it's still attention. It's still, they still get in the clout regardless. So like we don't even know the root of it. I mean, it's like, come on. We know a lot of stuff in this entertainment industry is WWE. So cats could be sitting back laughing like, you dumb fools. You saying go back and forth. We don't know. We don't know. But we shouldn't also let it affect us as indie musicians or any musicians, you know, to that fact. You know what I'm saying? I think you should just focus on your craft. You know what I'm saying? Like show up and forget all that age stuff because everybody else is rocking out. Facts. So like, don't let people stop the rock. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. That's all I got to say.
That's great advice. Ladies and gentlemen, T once again. T ain't never disappointed. Love you, sis.
Much love. Peace.
All right, let's get somebody in here. So you guys, I hope you guys saw that update. I don't mention nobody name, especially not no other YouTubers, but that's agent. It's agent activity. Disruptors. Having a productive conversation, and the narcissist gotta have it be about them. It's interesting. Avedon, talk to me, bro. Avedon. The man.
Yo, what's good?
Avedon, the man. What's the deal? What's the deal? Avedon, what's the man? It's the guy. It's Himothy.
Yo.
It's Hemi Neutron.
Listen, you got me fired up because this is an age-old conversation I've been having with my boys since for over a decade. We've been having this conversation.
Yeah.
So to hear this and to even over a decade, it's like, I think what kind of sparked it for me was about a decade, 2012. I was in the studio with Dress from Black Sheep, and he said one thing that I will never forget, and it changed my whole entire paradigm career-wise.
Okay.
And he said, your art should age like good wine.
How did you, I mean, I know there's their first initial reaction to it, like, I know that's a gem. Don't know how that applies to me quite yet, but.
I received it.
Oh, you received it early. Okay, well then break it down for me how you received that advice. Repeat it one more time, just so we don't have, I distracted you. One more time. What's that advice?
Your art should age like good wine. And because, I went to school for hospitality management, so I had cooking classes. So I know about wine. I know like the older the wine, the better. Yeah. I know all about that. So when I got it, I was like, what made, and then he used examples. He says, what do you call the old school music? You call the old school music the classics.
This is true.
So when you look at Aretha Franklin, when you look at Stevie Wonder, when you look at Luther Vandross, you call them classics. You don't put a age limit on their music.
Right.
They could go, not Luther, of course, but they could go out and perform even at their age.
So, okay.
And they would still sell out.
Let me ask you this. So whenever I bring this argument up, something I always hear about, especially from our folks, our people, is it's a cultural issue. of the young eating the old, or the old, disrespecting the young. It's always that kind of, the whole Jim Crow inspired energy, right? But it doesn't exist with the R&B. It doesn't exist with the soul music because it's still the classics. Matter of fact, the young producers embrace that music and sample it. Like they literally sample that. That is the foundation for the sampling. So it's appreciated for being a classic sound. Why do you think it exists there, doesn't exist there, but exists here in the hip hop spectrum?
See, depends on how deep you hit this conversation.
You messed me up. You asked the wrong question. See, when you said that, you messed me up. I'm just asking questions as I get them, bro. So you don't have to have an answer. I'm just very curious.
I would say I believe it stems from a social economical standpoint.
Okay.
Because you got to look at how we were together more as people back then.
Mm-hmm.
We were more focused on building families back then.
The music reflected it.
I
said the music reflected it.
Exactly. Art reflects reality. That's just the facts.
Yeah.
So we was just more connected back then, and as times change, things change. We accept that. But with hip hop, the thing about hip hop, it became, which you kind of discussed on Sunday, it became more industrialized.
Mm-hmm.
It became more about the machine. Okay, what works for this people? And because of that, you would have people, how should I put this? You would have people who would abuse the machine, make it seem how it works, and not necessarily it will be something that would be, the best way I could put it is home school, like home cooked food that, grandma would make every Sunday.
Yeah.
Versus fast food. And we were filling up on fast food.
Yeah, it's
everything. All over.
Even like, you don't have to go to get fast food. You get the microwave cooked dinners, bro. Those
microwave, TV dinner.
And now the music is microwave, because you're talking about 5 to 15 seconds gets you a viral audio clip on mostly Instagram, TikTok, and music is getting shorter and shorter by the releases.
And it's like, the only thing is to not go too far away from your question, to stay on the question, the why does it matter? Because same question, why representation matters. There's always going to be a different older group. I would say the one thing I will say about hip hop compared to those other groups of music, hip hop is the only genre that I can pinpoint that can have a subgenre for each age group. You have music for people who are in their 50s, music for in their 40s, music in their 30s, music in their 20s. Not every genre could say that.
Yeah.
Not every genre could say that. So there is something for everybody in hip hop. Now, at this point, it's almost like, what's your preference? What do you want?
Well, but how much does that stretch in the other ecosystem? I don't even call it the major label world. I'm gonna start calling it officially the other ecosystem. Since everybody's so concerned with that one, that's the other ecosystem.
So here's the thing. They know they're fading out. They know they're phasing out because more and more people are becoming hip to Spotify. That I don't need you to get on Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't need you to get on iTunes. I could pay 20 to 30 something a year on DistroKid and have my own distribution going. I don't need your help.
What are we doing?
Oh, I could take a class on social media marketing. I don't need you to market my stuff if I know the fundamentals of using social media now. So now it's,
I was gonna say, and with that understanding, that would give you the power to promote whatever the heck you want to promote, however you want to promote it. If you want to talk about what's going on currently in your late 30s lifestyle, right? Your 40s lifestyle, your 50s lifestyle, there is a platform that will serve it up. If you're staying consistent, and you know about this, 'cause I know we talk about social media all the time, but if you serve up what the social media wants, which is consistency, which is a center thought, right? Typically one piece of content that you can do on a consistent basis, they will find you an audience. But I think a lot of people are sort of like not stuck, but they're in this ecosystem of independence, and they're split between straddling the fence of the other ecosystem, and it changes the way they promote themselves. It changes the way their album covers looks. It changes the way that their captions look in the social media. It changes what social media they get on. And it's like, TikTok is so crazy that as much as it feels like a young person's game, TikTok will find you people that appeal to what you're doing. They have a literal For You page. How do I know this? There's an older guy. He might be in his 60s or his 70s. Every single one of his posts, Alvedon, you know what it is? This man runs into the middle of the road, looks at the camera, and flicks a middle finger, and then runs to the other side. Millions of views. Millions of views. I can't name him by name.
I'm not surprised.
I couldn't find him unless I hashtag middle finger. But he has an audience. That moment showed me it doesn't matter what you're into, what you rap about. Those platforms, as much as there's cons about it, there's also pros in that they'll find you and they'll find your audience. But a lot of us stopped so soon wanting that instant gratification that we'll never experience it.
I think that's the thing too, because as to your point with the guy with the middle of the road, is literally someone who flushes things down the toilet, and he has millions of subscribers on YouTube. Literally, that's channel flushing things down the toilet. I'm like, so in this, it's like there's an audience for it. There's literally an audience for anyone. But I think that's the thing. I don't think we've really been cultured into believing that. Even 20 years ago, having that access to a global market wasn't as accessible, wasn't as possible. You had to book like shows to have a global audience.
Yeah.
Now, if I go through my Spotify, I have people from the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
that I've never even met before. Like, that's wild to me.
We're living in that time, bro.
And so it's like we have this opportunity. So I just want to nail it home with there's someone out there, but it's like, as I was trying to tell my boy one time, I'm like, listen, you need to spend more time knowing who you want to make music for than just making music because you think it's hot. We can't, I think sometimes age matters to us because we are battling with our own pride and our own ego that we don't want to sit down and say, yo, who is this track for?
Yeah. Oh, that's a heavy one.
Who is this track for?
Yeah.
Who am I making this for? Somebody that's going to change and help them go through get through a hard time?
Facts.
Or am I making this because I think, I put together a good lyrical piece. This is dope, but what message are you hitting?
I love that.
The songs that hit,
yeah,
that they're memorable. Eminem, what memorable song? Stan. Everyone knows Stan. Why? A lot of people been there before. So, man, that's all I got to say with that.
Bro, I appreciate you, Alvedon. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Alvedon. I appreciate your feedback, man. It's always good to hear from you, bro.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. All right, so let's see what we got next up in here. I'll talk to low-key Jimmy, then I'm going to go to R. Griffin. Low-key Jimmy. Connecting the audio. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, low-key Jimmy. I already know who it is. I had to give you the round of applause.
I appreciate you, brother.
What's the word, man? I know you over there working hard. I know you just finished up another project. We've been in communication, so I'm glad to have you be able to be here to join us, man. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate you for having me. I again appreciate the platform that you give us, honestly.
Of course. So, what do you have to say? So, I got a few different questions when I ask this, but why, first of all, do you think that age still matters in hip hop?
I think that age doesn't matter.
Okay.
And I think my angle is, I saw a post maybe a week ago, and it was pretty much, it was absurd. They were pretty much saying like Jay-Z's never been the hottest rapper, and they gave you the years of who was hot here, who was hot there. But I think the difference is one, consistency. Jay-Z can drop right now, and we not question kind of what you said in the beginning. I did drop, so I didn't hear everything I was talking about. But Nas, you know, he didn't have as many ears as Jay-Z would have. I think we can all agree that.
Right.
But I think the difference is that consistency, and two, age doesn't matter, because like the guy before me was saying, once you know your market, and that's something that I think is needed. Like that was a word to me. He was preaching to me on that last one. But everyone listens to music, and I think we forget that this is a business. We forget that we are entertainers.
Yes.
And there's an age group for, and there's an artist for, you know, the 15 to 20 years old. Right. There's an artist for the 30 to 50-year-olds. You know what I mean? Yes. And once you know that lane, you're good. And so, you know what I mean? I don't think age really matters. Hip hop is so broad. You know, I mean, that's the word, right? It's so open. It's so big. Like, what is hip hop? Like, what does that even mean now? You got the punk guys, you got the alternative guys, you got the hip hop heads, you got the me and yous and the DIYers. So you got everybody.
Right.
But age isn't what ties it down. I think, you know, the market, the sound, and the concept.
Who do you think pushes that narrative? If you had to guess, who do you think benefits from a narrative of pushing out the old?
I was finna get a little Kanye for a second.
Go ahead. I'm not, you know, as long as we don't go like, you know what I'm saying, to the point where I can't never come back to YouTube again, but speak your mind, bro. What do you, because folks are already kind of saying it in the chat, but I'm not sure exactly what angle you would want to take it as.
I can't see the chat, but I think when we, like I said, there's a mainstream agenda. That's where I'll say there's a mainstream agenda for people that look like us, for the music that they think is attached to all of us. And that agenda is pushed by a market, a $1 billion, $1 trillion market that is being fed by the world, okay?
Yeah.
But I think, I'll end it at that. That market is being pushed by the billionaires, the people that run the country, whoever, the people that run the media, and they want to see a certain type of rapper for whatever reason. That's a whole different YouTube, I'm sure.
We might end up covering that at some point. Hopefully I still got a channel by then, but oh well. Because it bro, and you let me know your thoughts on it, but it always dawns on me that life or death, these rappers in that other ecosystem are tax write-offs. The rappers in that other ecosystem are disposable. And matter of fact, I think it's even gotten to the point, without having any prior knowledge, I think it's gotten to the point that the death of a rapper is now part of the rollout. They have a rollout plan, I should say. They have a rollout plan. When they pass away, here is how we maximize upon the surge in streams.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure they do, man. I mean, not to cut you off, I think we as the culture, you know, of a mixed culture now, as far as hip hop goes, it doesn't look like a certain person anymore. It looks like, you know, a lot of different people.
Right.
But specifically the people that look like us, we live in what I would call a death culture. So like, even I was having a convo, like, I don't know, on your side of the country, there's a slang term, like when you're laughing, you say, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Or I'm weak, or you got me weak. Think about that though.
Yes.
I'm dead. Like I stopped myself maybe a month or so ago. Like, why am I saying I'm dead?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? We don't even question these things. We don't question why someone, like, I'm dead, I'm weak. Oh, you got me weak, man. No, I'm not dead or weak.
Fam, I felt the same way, and this is no disrespect to anybody who's a fan of his, because I think that he does some amazing work. But all my friends are dead. All my friends are dead. Like, they're now, things that used to be controversial lines have now become the choruses, and those choruses have now transferred into mantras because the choruses have now been more simplified. What's good, Dorian? They now become simplified, and now with the simplification of the instrumental, simplification of the chorus, it's easier to remember. And these things become literal mantras, whether or not you're even a fan of the music. Like, I remember that song. I never played that song, but it made such an impact, right? Yeah. Even like when you go back as far as Sean Kingston, it have me suicidal. So like, you're literally putting that out there into the world. And no matter what headspace, and it's so, that's why I think it's so wild when you hear, oh, we need to check on our friends. We need to make sure we have this conversation about mental health. It's so wild to hear that. And I'm like, we say that after somebody passes away and then jump right back into the same music. This is the first time for me that I made a very conscious decision of, I need to start policing what gets into my ear.
You are what you feed your spirit.
What you mean by that? So break that down for us. I know you got a gem for it. Come on now, community gems. Let's go.
Hey, look, you are what you feed your spirit, and that pretty much means, look, my mom laughing in front of me, right? Because she taught me that. She weak, right? She's like, she laughing right now. But you are what you feed your spirit is because every single thing in liquid, to content that we take in, to music that we listen to, is going to alter your reality. Yes. That's a fact. So doing little things like, whatever religion you are, whatever you call yourself, but me personally, I got a playlist. It's only God music in the morning. I'm not starting my day off by YouTube. I'm not starting my day off by, Lil whoever.
Come on now.
I'm gonna put what I need. You know what I'm saying? Just real. I don't even listen to myself in the morning. Yeah. I will make sure I listen to my 20, 30 minutes of devotional just to get that headspace right. I'm going to watch you throughout the day. I'm going to watch Dorian throughout the day. I'm going to watch these different people because I know where I want to be in 5, 10 years. I'm going to do these things to make sure I'm good. We can't expect things to work out if we're not putting in the work all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the gym. It's not just writing. If you put it like this, if you write all day, your beat's going to be trash.
Yeah.
if you make beats all day,
your lyrics is gonna be
your verse is gonna be trash. You know what I mean? So it's full circle. And that's pretty much what I mean by that.
Man, I love that. Two things that brings to mind. One of my favorite people to wake up in 2 a.m. in terms of like motivational speaking is Les Brown. And Les Brown once said in a speech, he said that when we wake up, our brain operates, I think he said, in 20 wave cycles per second, meaning that whatever we take in, we absorb at a faster rate than we do for the rest of the day. The first 20 minutes, right? And think about somebody who's absorbing the timeline and all those mixed emotions and all of those negative emotions. And then think about the music that they may listen to on the way to work or the way to the gym. Like, that's me. I only listen to the most ignorant music at the gym. And
time and place.
Right. It's a time and place. But then I had to even catch myself to where it's like, this has an effect on even the playlist that I created. And I had to have a friend call me out on this one because he really believes in NLP, the power of words. And he told me, our neuro-linguistic programming, for anybody who wants to research that. But he says, I saw your playlist on Apple Music and it said, kill the dad bod. He said, why would you want to kill the dad bod? He said, you're a loving dad who wants to have, a body that you're able to take care of yourself, your family, and be there for your kid. He said, might want to test the language. And I look at the playlist, it's a lot of kill. It's a lot of killing in that playlist. It's a lot of artists in there who, whether it's justified or unjustified, it's never justified, but they don't even give reasons. But it's part of the music. It's mostly the beat. And I had to catch myself, bro. I'm like, even with the whole place and time thing that we have in hip hop, I don't know if I feel like I'm reaching a place now where I can't even make those same excuses or defend. I love hip hop so much, but I can't defend it the same way because it's like I know better. Like I know the power of words. I see it on a daily basis. Second thing I want to say, and I want to get your thoughts on this. You said that thing about you are
what you feed your spirit.
What you feed your spirit. It reminded me of you are the 5 people that you hang around the most. What's ironic about that, and I think people forget about this or don't even think about it, you don't have to have 5 people around you. You could be somebody who you work at a gas station, You drive home and you play Call of Duty. You might make some music, and it's only you and probably 2 other people. Forget the 2 other people. Whoever you're consuming on a regular basis on social media, on YouTube, is part of that circle now. So whatever person that you're listening to on a regular basis, they are now invading the same sonic space that these conversations do. So
very true.
I hate to sound so like stickler about the details, but it's like when you believe in your success, when you believe that words matter, how do you not take that into consideration? You know what I mean?
I agree. I think it's everything you just said, even though it was different from what I said, it's the same thing. Like,
facts.
We have to learn, you know what I mean? We got to learn to unfollow those blog pages. We got to learn to tap in with, the people that's in this chat. We have, like, it's the internet. Like the guy said before, we can meet people across the world, across the country,
right?
And they're on the same wavelength. And that's what we need. That's the beautiful thing about the internet. But the other side of that is you can also get tapped into those blog pages, those pages that aren't feeding you. I just think that everyone needs to make that decision to feed themselves positivity. And I think these type of communities are very important for the music, because I think once people hear these conversations, like personally, I know that I'm making music for people here first, and myself first, but you guys second, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's important that everyone here is on that same page, because we are the standard. I said that before. We are the new standard, right? And what I mean by that is we have the ability to shift that music. We have the ability to combat the BS that we're hearing. We're the producers, we're the new writers, we're the new musicians coming up. So if we start moving and we start, hey, we're not listening to that, bro. That's whack. I'm not trying to hear it.
Yeah.
Eventually, the curation of our music and what we're putting out is it only makes sense. That's just how it works. The underground becomes the mainstream one day.
Yeah.
Now, will it get exploited? Cool. I don't know. That's a whole different story. But I think it's important that we realize the power that we do have.
I love that, man. I can't thank you enough for jumping in here and not only giving us those words, but just bringing in your positive energy. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you.
Hey, I'm about to get some sleep, man.
Man, get some sleep. You hard working, 2-hour driving back and forth, man. Go get your rest. You've earned that.
God bless, bro. Peace.
God bless. You take it easy. Low-key Jimmy, ladies and gentlemen. Dorian, come on now. You already know, my brother. You can absolutely jump in this conversation. I would love to hear from you. So what's interesting about what Low-key Jimmy just said right now is that about how the taste of music changes. I saw an article, and I don't want to mix it up the wrong way, but the gist of it that I got, and you can read it, I think it was on Complex. This is the first year that, you already know, hip-hop dominates every genre. It's been dominating for a long time. That's no mystery to anybody. This is the first time that the gap is closing and people are buying less quantity of the hip-hop that we've come to know. And I have to believe, in my opinion, right, we can all theorize. There's probably a million different theories for it or reasons for it. My theory is that after the pandemic and people got a chance to really stop and look at their lives and look at the things that they add to their lives and whether or not they're happy about the route they're going, happy about the things that they're consuming, I think there was a shift in a lot of people's minds. Not everybody. Some people went back to their bull. But I think there was a shift, a huge shift. And I think it's changing the way that people are, even like their drug habits. There's still a war on drugs, still an opium crisis and all that. But I think that when you have time and you're not trying to numb yourself of everything, because that's all the pandemic was, numbing yourself of the chaos outside because you had no choice, whatever your drug of choice is, I think that the general consciousness changes. It shifts. And I think that's a reflection of it. In my opinion, that's a reflection of it. So, absolutely. Absolutely. Graf, and I want to get you in here, but I want to talk to Dorian real quick. Because I just know he got a setup. He'd never come in here without no logo on that shirt. That's for starters. And he's not going to come in here ready to discuss some things. What's going on? Dorian, what's the deal, bro?
Man, what's going on with you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, bro. Let me go ahead and bring you on here. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give it a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my ducks, my swans. Now look, Dorian, I want to try to monetize this video afterwards, all right? Gotcha. So I'm gonna just speak in code for you real quick. I know we're not code switching.
All right. Let me clean up the premises.
I promise I'm not gonna go on no tour after this and start apologizing to different outlets about, you know what I'm saying, something you said. But bro, you know, these conversations we have anyways are gonna be different when it's you and I just having that conversation. We have many conversations that I'm very grateful for. But this argument, see, it's you. When I get around you, I'm wanting to cuss more. It's because, bro, I just feel like it's like getting into a barbershop. You just feel like it's at home, bro. That's what it feel like. But this conversation about age, you, in my opinion, are somebody who is defying the odds of what it means to be an older rapper, what it means to be a older entrepreneur in the space. You're reinventing, you're creating new jobs, matter of fact. And I'm seeing it happen as we've even been collaborating. I'm very curious. What are your thoughts on this? Does age matter in hip hop? And if so, why does it age? Or why does it matter?
Age used to matter when we were signing to people who told us age mattered. These are the same people that released the Grammys, you know, and every year, you know, the people who are winning the Grammys are ages 19, 20, 25. You know, it's like rappers used to be like running backs in the NFL. You know, we going to get you when you 20, 21, about time you 26, 27, you're either going to be dead or you're going to be done. We're going to bring in somebody else. And what they didn't count on is like Jay-Z, you know, being 50 and still can rap with the best ever. And I think we are finally seeing different generations of rap that we're going to be attached to, you know, like I have friends that they're just not going to listen to the new music. They're just not. And even when we play it and when we're in the club, it's like, yeah, they can feel that vibe. But, you know, Little John, when we were 21, does not hit the same as NBA Youngboy when you're 38.
Right.
It just doesn't. You know, and I love Youngboy, but it's not the same. It's not the same. You know, and you are able to fossilize these memories of a life that you're never going to go back to. You know, like I just posted a picture with two of my homegirls from college, one of my homeboys from college. I can hear the soundtrack as I'm talking to you now. It's like, I'll never go back there. Yeah. But when I listen to those songs, I can. I'm not making memories to NBA Youngboy. No. I have a daughter. Like I'm a father. I'm a business owner. You know, I'm not making memories to that stuff. So that I'm always going to have my generation of music. And the dude before, Low Key Jimmy, good work. First of all, your whole setup is phenomenal. Okay,
thank you, bro.
We need to have like a tutorial. You need to walk me through. I need this. This looks great.
I'll send that to you. That ain't nothing. As much information you gave me. So, you know, I'm getting ready to shut it down and get in my systems this next month. So this is me just being able to like finally, after a long year of just all the work that we do, it's a blessing to finally just have these conversations that have been swimming in my head. I don't know if you was here earlier, but I'm not even going to call it the major label industry moving forward. I'm not going to call it the music industry. I'm going to call it the other ecosystem.
Corporate.
It's the other ecosystem for me.
Yeah. You
say it's corporate. I say it's the other ecosystem. So when people come to me about, do you feel like you're too old to be rapping? It's the other ecosystem. It's the wrong ecosystem. No worries, no disrespect. I get it, but you're in the other ecosystem.
But I think what you were saying and what Low Key Jimmy was saying, you know, it's the reason that like 10 years ago, I just really stopped watching battle rap because, you know, every bar was, I shoot your mom on the fucking head while your daddy suck my dick, bitch. Like,
yeah.
It's like the more disrespectful that you were, the louder the applause you got. And they were doing this for money.
Yes.
And at the time, I didn't know the social media content game, but I knew that $15,000, $50,000 for the champion URL, you getting $100,000. I knew they was making way more than that. And just the nonstop disrespect. And it was about gun bars. How creative can I come up with a gun bar. How creative can I kill you right now?
Wow.
Like, we don't have who can kill each other the most creatively contest.
And then hold on. And then you have a auditorium of people who are fans of this killer poetry. Like Daylight, one of my good friends. I worked the Quiznos with him way back in the day. But
God, you and this Quiznos,
bro,
man.
yo,
Man,
that Quiznos was lit. Look, and Carson, that Quiznos was lit. He worked there, bro. He came there before the face tats. My guy was in there, but he was trolling me back then. I tell that story all the time. He came in limping one day and I was like, what happened to you? He was like, man, I kicked the ball off a 10-foot rim, but I'll tell you about it later. And then went to the back and clocked in. But I've been around it. I've seen the culture go through different places. But you ever get this feeling where you're listening to it and you kind of have to like question yourself, like, where am I in life right now? That I'm like, this is my entertainment.
Shit. Damn.
I'm at that place now, Dorian. I haven't always been at that place, but I'm at that place now where I'm just like, the stuff that used to excite me, I don't want to say it embarrasses me, but it gets me to a point where I'm like, you're cap. How can you sit up here and talk about the power of words? How can you sit up here and talk about mantras? How can you sit up here and talk about wanting to only put things into your brain that are for your productivity? And then you have this, and I know we all have our entertainment, but you have this that is literally talking about the demise of people that look like you as entertainment.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I was with it, with the freestyle stuff. It was just like, I mean, I'm not saying this, being facetious. Those are some of the best writers in the world.
They are. And that's why it's so hard to break away from.
The fucking gift that they have is unreal. It is not only is it natural ability, you have to study. You have to get your cadence right. You got to get your performance right. They have to be stand-up comedians where every joke rhymes. It's an unbelievable gift.
Without a beat. You create a rhythm that I'm interpreting by your words.
And you're rapping about how you gonna kill this nigga with an imaginary Uzi.
A gun the size of whatever they want to say it is. That's where our culture was with rap. That's how that's how the other ecosystem has marketed rap to us. That's what they have shown us. It's almost like, real hip. When I hear white boys say this ain't real hip hop, I feel like that means ain't enough people dying. The first person, what's crazy about you saying that? I used to go, so I went to, it's because we were living at Mons moved our pops moved to Paramount. Mons moved to Downey. So I was living in Paramount. I was at a school that was 98% Latino and like maybe 1% black. Then I moved over to another school in Downey that was like 60% white, and it was a lot more of us there. But I never forget, in those two places, two things happened that did not go according to the stereotype book. First time I ever got called the N-word was from a Latino at that school because there were race wars on a daily basis. And we were all my folks was outnumbered 98 to 1%. I don't know how you have a war when you're outnumbered like that. First time I ever heard it. Second thing, the first time I ever got feedback on my music was from this white guy that I was in economics class with. And he said, I don't like your music, bro. I said, why not? He said, it's missing aggression. It just, I don't know, like, the only reason I listen to hip hop is for the low end. And this is like, it's just not mean enough. And I never forgot that. And I was like, at that moment, instantly, I felt like a token. I was like, because if I do it, then I've done it according to what he believes my outlook should be if I'm going to choose to be a rapper. It's wild, bro. It's wild. We create our own situations like that.
It is. And social media has allowed us to see what that type of hip hop does when they're not inside the studio. I mean, I don't even follow this stuff, but just between like Whack 100 and 21 Savage and just all these things that I constantly see them on social media about, and I don't even follow these accounts like Loki Jimmy was talking about. Like, I have algorithmic responsibility. Like, bro, I'm to the point where on my Instagram Explore page, I won't even lock eyes with something for too long because I know that they're reading how long my eyes stay on stuff if they're going to show it to me again.
I got a hack for that. I got a hack for that. Hit the hold over it and put the not interested. That will change the entire feed of what they're suggesting you, because they got me to the point where I was like, Look, I know I don't be looking at no twerking videos, but y'all for sure are pushing that to me right now. Y'all for sure are pushing that to me right now. Got my wife looking at me crazy like, oh, so that's what your Explore page look like. It looked different than mine. I'm like, I promise you.
You know what it was? And I'm gonna tell you this, okay? That's my fault. And the reason that it's my fault is because my homeboys back home, they don't have no goddamn sense.
Right.
So I'm in group chats, okay, where it don't like it's just that's all it is. And so like anytime I log into Instagram, like my lady sees my Instagram and my lady posts on my Instagram. Like she's our poster. Yeah. You know, so she sees the shit. Yeah. And she's like, it's outrageous how many women are on.
Bro, it's just nothing but twerk video fights. And I'm just like, yo, where did I give the algorithm that this is what I want? But it's the stuff that it stands out enough for you to give that eye contact. But I started doing that not interested, not even to cut your point off. I started doing that not interested. It changed everything that it suggested me. Now it's giving me Tony Robbins quotes and shit.
Good. And that's what we all have to do. And that's like, you know, with what we see on our social media, that's on purpose. Yeah. Like they're not everything Kanye is saying. You know, all the people that like control all these things, this is real. You know, this isn't a joke. It's not a conspiracy. They're intentionally feeding us these images. And, you know, when I see people who operate in that, what we consider now, based off your example, what would be the low end of hip hop, you know, what is their retirement plan?
Man,
how long do they last? What did they end up doing? How many of them have sat across from Vlad TV?
Yeah, I know I saw what you said earlier, and I was like, yes, yeah. You got to question all that. But once again, that's another ecosystem. It's a whole nother set of rules that they operate by.
And I think for all the older artists, and by older I mean you're in your 30s or you're in your 40s or your 50s or your 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s or you're 100 years old. When you're an artist, you're an artist. You know. One of the I have a video that I'm gonna do, a short form video. I've been having my team say, just hey, send me video ideas, and I'll do a 30-second short form right there. I'll send it back to y'all. That way we can get the more visceral Dorian, you know. And one of them that they sent me was what's the best rap advice I've ever received, and it wasn't even received. I watched an interview, and of all people, this advice came from Krayshawn. Remember her Gucci, like the white girl?
That was my first viral remix, was her song. Yes, I remember.
There you go. And so, I mean, we are talking, I want you to get monetized, so I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. But, you know, Krayshawn, okay?
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone, you know, who was a massive Kanye West fan, who's a Soulquarians fan, who Kendrick and J. Cole and Tribe Called Quest. Krayshawn, she did an interview, and they asked her at the end of the interview, it was a whack interview. You know, they always ask at the end,
of course,
what advice do you have for any upcoming artists? And she said, no matter what, somebody's going to like your shit.
I like that.
There's someone is going to like your music, no matter what it is. And I was like, she's 100% right.
Yeah.
That's the only way that she was able to get to the point where for her to be a white girl, the way she rapped and the gimmick and the jokes around it, she had people that liked it. And she kept going, and then she made Gucci. Now she'll make no money off of it. But like it's the exact same thing as an artist who's from ages 30 to 90.
Yeah.
There's someone that's going to like it. And there is a massive void for new music that feels good. Like y'all know how Will Smith's Summertime feels good. What song feels like that right now?
You got to search in the independent ecosystem to find that. You're not gonna find it in another ecosystem because their AI and metrics have not provided enough evidence that this is something that we should now clone and push through our ecosystem. So. You're right. It doesn't exist. There's Young Villain said me. Are you in that other ecosystem? Smell like bacon in here. You in that other ecosystem?
Bacon.
Smell like an agent in here. Smell like an undercover. You in that other ecosystem? Let me find out. Talking about me. They're not pushing that. They're not pushing that because it's not.
Curtis,
man.
Let me ask you this. Cause I know you don't get a lot of questions on here because you're the talent. But you know, what is our ecosystem? Like, let's say that I'm starting today. I'm starting today, man. And you know, I mean, we got short form, we got long form, we got courses, we got Spotify, we got, you know, Drake supposedly losing to Taylor Swift, and I can't name 3 Taylor Swift songs the past 10 years. We got rig shit. We got, I mean, I can do whatever now. I can do whatever. How do I start today? And how do I make money? And how am I going to be able to support my family in this other ecosystem that you keep talking about?
Right. And this independent ecosystem, I'm glad you asked that too. That's a great question. In this other ecosystem, I think that the first step is unlearning a lot of the habits that we've picked up, because a lot of the things that we have that are biases that exist within even our choices and sounds have a lot to do with how other people compare it to what's on the radio. Even in terms of the kind of artists that we work with. A lot of that has to do with the type of artist that we think is going to quote unquote make it. And I think that even the business that we do, we're looking at Jay-Z and folks that they don't have any kind of Skillshare courses on how he sets up his system or none of that shit. And we're trying to piggyback off of crumbs that have been given to us of where he's been. And I think that in this ecosystem, you have to look for more than just even the elites of this, like the Tech Nines. We got to stop only holding those up as the only examples, because even he is the 1 percentile of the independent. Folks don't understand that he came into something that was already a system that used to be a Montgomery Ward, the strange building that I've been in, the strange music building, used to be, I think, a Montgomery Ward warehousing center. And so that was already a family business. And then the acres that translated into the merch and all the stuff that they got there, that was already something that was in place, but people are not told that. They think they're just going to go to their local warehouse and start up a strange music, and that's not how it works. So I think also being able to separate the levels of business and understand that these folks are also in a different section of your ecosystem. Thirdly, I think we have to stop looking at the advice we see in interviews and the things that we see that are little hints from rappers that are out there, and start paying attention to people that may not look like they apply to what we're doing. Mr. Beast applies to what we're doing because it shows you what the trickle-down effect is. So pay attention to folks who are independent in their own route, in their own ways. He just got an evaluation. He's a YouTuber, if you guys don't know, biggest YouTuber in the world. Every time he drops a video, he gets the same ratings as a Super Bowl. Every time he drops a video. He just got an offer, I want to say from Google or someone that offered for his channel, I think $1.5 billion. He said no. Because in his mind, he said, if you're evaluating at $1.5 billion, how much do you think that you're going to make because you're looking to get a profit? I look at that, back up, and I say, that's an example of how hard you should stick to your guns. Everybody's situation is different, but if you say that you believe in your independence, you say that you value your decision making, I think those are things that are non-negotiable to start with. The unlearning, the stopping comparing to the other ecosystem, recognizing the freedom that you have in this ecosystem, and also the work that comes along with it. I think that's a great place to start, but I don't think any of our routes are going to be exactly the same. And I think that's the issue, is that a lot of us are thinking like there's just this one route to get it. Okay, well, I'm going to do it independent. Well, I'm going to be rhyme sayers. And it's like, no, dog, those are the exceptions to the rule. How about being the first you? But it starts with understanding what you have, the value you have, and how much freedom and flexibility you actually have. Because once you realize you don't have the same handcuffs as them folks in that other ecosystem, this is like a wide open game.
You know, and there's a couple of things that first it's scary. You know, it's scary to be an artist who just wants to make music and all you've ever known is the other ecosystem. All we ever known was Source and Double XL and CDs. Man, you know how bad I wanted to buy my own CD in like Best Buy, bro. That was a dream, man.
Yes.
Like I really wanted to do, and I'll never get a chance to do that, you know. So it's like the radio and then the shows and, you know, the awards and then the merch and being the hero of your city. Like we all had that dream. And so it's like all of us got told at once, ain't none of y'all making the NBA. You know, it's like the whole ecosystem
at the same time.
Changed.
Go to
it's scary. It's
go to the dungeon.
As hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I understand every artist and their apprehension because, you know, the only information we were getting was from the other media and they were pushing there are other artists because they own the entire other ecosystem. So that's the first thing. It's just really, really scary. The second thing on what you were saying, you know, there's the other ecosystem exists on social media and on YouTube too. You know, the other ecosystem exists on podcasts too. So, you know, it used to be, okay, that it was just radio, Today Show, Tonight Show, movies, magazines, boom. But now they've went over, you know, y'all favorite podcasts are in the other ecosystem. And they say that they're Black owned, but they're not.
Yeah.
You know, y'all
Shout out to iHeartMedia.
Exactly. Y'all favorite YouTube channels. Like Curtis King and I, we're independent. It is very obvious. Okay.
Yes.
When someone isn't on YouTube, it is very obvious that they aren't. It's just, you just start getting that eye, you're able to see it. So, you know, when he says learn from other independents, verify that they are. And independents know shit. Like somebody asked me the other day, what's questions I ask people if they want to meet with me and like talk about business. Well, you know, I asked them if they have an LLC, and most likely they say yes. You know, and the next question I asked them is, who's your business insurance through? And most of them can't answer that. Yeah, now, I'm not sitting down, I'm not talking to you, right? Because I didn't know shit from Shinola about business insurance, but I knew my business was getting so valuable, and I was talking to so many people. I need to make sure I can protect this, like same way I protect my car, protect my house. So that was common sense, you know. So it's start setting up and learning your own filters for what makes you comfortable, and then what you just said, learning from other people. Oh, I can't learn from anybody on YouTube about this shit. No, I don't learn from other motherfuckers doing talking about other shit.
Yeah, our folks who are like pseudo independent, but not by choice. There's a difference between being independent by choice and being independent because you're waiting to get signed. And there's a lot of people in that holding tank right now who are banging their chests about their independence, who would sell their man panties quick as they can for an Interscope. They would sell it as quick as they can for a Def Jam call. Then they won't take any deal. They won't take a 360, but they might take a 275. Right? And you'd be surprised. I know that don't exist, but you get my drift. You'd be surprised how many folks that are pumping their chest about their independence who can be bought. When y'all come to us, folks like they are being bought, right?
They are.
When y'all come to us and y'all say things like, yeah, you talk that, but what if Jay-Z calls? It's such a condescending question to somebody who really does this. When you're talking, Dorian's talking about something that I'm about to have to ask him about the business insurance. When you're talking about that level of attention to your business, you're no longer playing business. It is to your benefit of your business long term, to your generational wealth, to take care of all these things. It's not a choice anymore. It's not we should. I want to address this really quick, because I know you can give one of them smacks into reality, because I see this kind of commentary all the time. And this is no disrespect, Planet Guap. You've been very supportive here, and I appreciate it. But you got to call a spade a spade. Planet Guap says we still need power if we want to shift people's thinking. First of all, we cannot worry about shifting people's thinking until we shift our own, because we're not going to get celebrated in this era right now the way that you think that we're going to get celebrated. It's probably going to take a few sacrificial generations before we really see the consciousness shift from everybody else, where they understand, oh, you're a full-time rapper. And our part-time rapper with a job. We can't even get out the consciousness. Dorian, you tell me that. We can't even get out the consciousness of being embarrassed because you have a job that provides for your music career. We're still in that phase. You're talking about we need power, and that will come, but we got to start where we're at. You got folks still embarrassed because they work at the Dollar Tree during the day and you make beats at night. Like, what are we talking about?
For real.
Let's start there.
Know, it's like in this whole we all got to be on the same page consciousness shit. No civilization has ever moved forward with 100% ever. So like ever. So it's you can change people's thinking today individually, the people around you. You know, that's like the reason that I'm able. So some of y'all like want this, like y'all really, really want this, right? But you are terrified of making content and like going live. The reason that I'm able to call in to Curtis King's channel and just off the cuff from my computer and just go live like this is because I have been doing this my entire life. I was doing it on my friends, pause. I was doing it like on my family, on when I was coaching. Like I've been training myself to do this.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to expect everyone to understand. I'm not going to expect everyone to get it. I can't wait on everyone else. Like, you know, I'm able to change people's minds right now. And I learned that gift by practicing it. So if you want to be someone who was impactful, you can impact the people around you right now. And that's your problem. And I'm not trying to be mean, but you know, some of y'all will never get to 100,000 followers because you can't handle 100. Like, this is another level of responsibility. And I'm not trying to talk above y'all. Like, I'm really not. But, you know, if you want to perform at Coachella, you probably gonna need to be able to go live on YouTube.
You think what trajectory do you think exists where you can get inside of a boat and not sway it and just maneuver yourself from island to island of accomplishments? Like I'm speaking in symbolism, but I'm like, that's how a lot of people operate. They think they can get from destination A to B without rocking the boat, without pain, I'll take pain, but just not too much.
Nah, this hurt. It hurt.
It hurts, and it
hurts.
You know what the most painful part is, and we talked about this. The most painful part is when your ass think you got it, and the shit happens even worse the next time around.
I think that's how it is, though. I think like every level it hurts worse.
Yeah,
you know, because like I got business pain, but then I talked to my homeboy that's probably like 2 levels ahead of me, and he tells me his business pain. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, this don't go away.
Like I was thinking about this the other day. Like I saw some random picture of Jay-Z leaving the courthouse. I'm like, I wonder how many times a year he just has to go to court for some bullshit.
Just
like,
somebody who thought today they wanted to sue Jay-Z.
And like the lawyers have done everything that they can, but Sean Corey Carter, you have to show up today. I'll say 12 to 15 times a year. He has to stop everything he's doing to go to court because someone's trying to take some money from him that they think that he owes them. And do you want to go to court 15 times a year? I don't know if I do. I don't.
I know those problems are good problems to have because it means you're in a different bracket, but damn it, when you know that in any given point in time, because you shared a photo, just like LeBron is still going through, when you share a photo that was shared with you on social media, on your Instagram, that is now grounds for a photographer to say.
Not LeBron, Kyrie.
Was it? No, it was LeBron. It was LeBron. LeBron, he had a picture that was on Facebook posted, and he's cocking back to dunk or whatever. I think it's against Miami. It's an ongoing case right now. I remember the photo. That's one reason I remember. Yes, right? So you can have a photographer who shares that shit publicly and can make a case for why his copyright was infringed upon. So when these things happen from just casual decisions, imagine all the business that occurs. Imagine the people who feel like they've been slighted. Imagine when he wins money for suing somebody else and they feel like they're entitled to a percentage of that. Well, let's go ahead and run this thing over again. I understand now, Dorian. I used to think like how the general population feels like, oh, these people are Hollywood. These people are Hollywood. I understand why it takes 6 or 8 people before you can finally get to Jay-Z.
Got to.
I get it.
Got to, man. It's you got to set up structure, and you know, and in our culture, we have this celebrity worship because you know, and I know I feel like I'm Kenya Barris, and this is Blackish. It's just like it all goes back to slavery, you know. Like, you know, we Black Americans, we still have this, you know, massa is going to pick the best one mentality.
Yep.
And over the years, that has become our athletes and our entertainers. And so we look at them as like, you're the one who has made it. You know, because even the doctors and lawyers look at you as if you're the one who's made it.
Yeah.
And because of that, anytime you get Black fame, it is different. It is way different. And you got to know if you want to deal with this or not. People think having social media fame is like cool, you know, and there is some cool aspects to it. I'm not even social media famous,
right?
But there's also aspects too that when, you know, I'm going to Whole Foods at 9:30 in the morning and not even thinking about nothing, and somebody walks up to me or I get home and somebody on YouTube says, "Hey man, my wife just saw you in Whole Foods." It's like, I'm just trying to buy some tea.
Bro, I wasn't even on that today.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes you think about how many times people see you and they don't even say nothing. Yeah. And, I'm Dorian Group 82. What does Jay-Z deal with?
And not just people who are excited to see you, but who are looking at you like, when else am I going to be able to come up on this come up? Right? Rest in peace to PNB Rock. It's situations like, when am I going to have a rapper in my city again eating at the local Roscoe's in $150,000, if not $500,000 worth of jewelry? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's justified, but I'm saying that's the time we're living in.
That shit was stupid as fuck.
It's the time we're living in. It's the time we're living in.
His life. That shit was dumb as fuck.
It's the time we're living in, and especially post-pandemic world. Like, not even LA rappers. If you notice, the Games, the Snoops, they don't wear a lot of jewelry. It's done purposely. We don't see them. If you see them wearing a lot of jewelry, they're at a photo shoot. They're at a place where it's heavily guarded. They're not just going around casually because they just know the politics of the city. But I want to bring it back to the topic because I know I got some other folks in here. Hey, bro, I appreciate you blessing us with your time because you busy as hell, and this needed to be said. And I'm so glad to have another brother of independence talk this, because you say this to folks in that other ecosystem, they think you're just trying to like use your arrogance as a steam to power your dream head ass. And that's not what it is. It's like, dog, I truly believe in this. I'm living in a home. I love that
line too.
I love that line, but I'm like, that's what they think it is. It's like, oh, you on your Kanye shit, huh? Shut up. It's not what it is. If it was that, I'd have quit 15, 20 years ago. But I'm at this point now and still evolving. And I say the same thing with you, bro. It's inspiring to me to see every single year pop up and you find another way to not only reinvent yourself, but expand your business, grow your business, and you still stay with that same hunger that I saw from the very beginning when you was like, your subscriber count was at where it was at, and I'm seeing it shoot up, and I'm like, you're still on that same energy length or that same energy wavelength, and you're putting out more content now. So when I look at that, I'm like, y'all think it slows down at the end of your 30s. Not if you're in the right headspace. This is when it starts to speed up. You get smarter about the way that it ramps up, but I just have to make sure I give you your roses, bro, because it's something that inspires me on a daily basis.
Man, thank you, man. And just to be honest, because I haven't really been going live as much, and I love talking to your audience. I just really been in my shell creatively. But dude, we're barely holding on. I mean, this has been a tough year financially for every business, including ours, and we are barely holding on. And it just feels good that, I'm looking at from such an executive perspective, and I'm looking at 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like Black Friday is make or break. I'm not even gonna sit here and like cap. And I think we're gonna do really well, but it is literally, that is, if we don't get it then, shit's gonna have to really shift. And, this is what business is.
Yeah.
And I think, like, because everybody that followed me last year, I was posting how much that I was making. I was posting how much that I was bringing in. I was posting.
Yeah.
I wanted y'all to see, because those of y'all that have been with me from the beginning, I want y'all to see when I had nothing.
Yes.
And now I'm getting all of this. And now we're coming back down. And it's not like it was before. We got systems. We got stuff. Yeah, nigga ain't going to be homeless or no shit like that.
Systems. Your ass got systems. And that's Super Affiliate Week. I learned what the hell a system look like behind the scenes. That's a system. I ain't never seen nothing like that. But continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I mean, Facebook laid off 10,000 people. Amazon laid off 11,000 people.
Jesus.
11,000 people don't have a job going into the holidays. So we are living in a very tough economic time, and y'all know, those that know me know I follow the finance stuff a little closer than most. It's only going to get worse. And if you are an entrepreneur, and you are a business owner, and you're feeling that fucking squeeze, like your nuts are in a vice. If you're a woman, your titties are in a vice. You ain't the only one. You're not the only one. So I appreciate the kind words, but I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, especially Black entrepreneurs, out here lying. out here fronting, out here capping, niggas acting like shit gravy, and it ain't. Because I've had the conversations with them. You know, I've asked them the questions, and they ain't got the answers. But then all of a sudden, they feel like that they got a bunch of money, and they continue to perpetuate the same image that we were talking about, which comes back to the title, why does age still matter in hip-hop? Because there needs to be grown man conversations.
Yes.
Ain't no 23-year-old black entrepreneur gonna say this shit that like I'm telling you. I have 38 years of life, and I'm able to tell you this in the content and through my own art. So I appreciate every producer and you, Curtis, for bringing this up, because I'm in the music making mode right now, and that's what I've been battling as an artist. It's like I can make that fun shit. It was like, nah, man. Talk that 38-year-old shit.
Talk it, bro, because nobody's gonna tell it through the lens of Dorian. Somebody, I shouldn't say somebody. My brother Stevie Crooks, immaculate MC, he's worked with a lot of folks behind the scenes, that just the elites in our game, and we were having a very similar conversation. He was like, basically coming to the conclusion that Basquiat, somebody as legendary as a Basquiat, would not be appreciated in this time, and it would take decades before he is, just like he is today. He wasn't appreciated back then the way he is today. In his circles, yes. And he said, then it dawned on him, I have to be my version of my Basquiat right now. It doesn't happen when I get signed. It doesn't happen when I finally take off and go, viral with the music. It doesn't happen after 1 million streams. It happens in the catalog that I'm creating right the fuck now. I have to be Basquiat in this moment, is what he told me. And it got me thinking, I've been waiting on my favorite rapper to release an album, and he's scared. Andre 3 Stacks.
He's 1,000% scared. You're the first Andre 3000 fan I've ever heard say that. You get national kudos, public kudos to me. You 3 Stack fans are in the dark. That nigga's terrified.
He's scared. He said, and I remember him saying about how he doesn't have the thick skin for this time. And I'm like, bro, I have to wake up with that every day. Even if I do slip, I haven't this year, but even if I slip and run it back and say something back to clap back, I'm already like primed for that. I'm already been trained for that because I've been in this space since MySpace. So that doesn't bother me the same way that it does somebody who's never had to have that connection on a daily basis with an audience that hates what you're doing, hates everything that you're doing, says the very things that you're second guessing as you're creating the art. I learned my favorite rapper is afraid to rap. What does that do to you? When you're thinking about your own space, it brings to you your responsibility. I'm waiting for Andre 3000, the things that I admire about him artistically. I'm waiting for him to create an album that only I can create. Not sonically. I'm waiting for him to create an album that makes me feel a certain way. I can only be the one that creates that for myself. We've been waiting on our heroes to when is Jay-Z going to create another? No. That responsibility is on you now. These are multimillionaires, billionaires. The responsibility is on you right now. And I'm not saying to be the next them in every capacity. I'm saying that the genius that exists within you, stop waiting. Stop waiting for 1 million views and all this other vanity metrics to do that. You have to be that now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't want to hold y'all hostage, and I want to.
Y'all know I got some more guests in here, but no, you good, bro. This is a blessing.
What as an artist, and I know you consider yourself rapper and music producer,
right?
What is the scariest thought you have about your music and your career? Like, what's the scariest thought that you have? And I'll answer too. After you're done. Not
having the epiphany that I just shared with you, that I would have been making music straddling the fence between this ecosystem and the other ecosystem, trying to impress people that follow me, that I admire for whatever reasons, and then looking back on my career and looking at the entire catalog and saying, shit, 2022, that's where you lost it. 2017, damn it, you could have been adding to this legacy. This could have been something worth bragging about. But you allowed the time, you allowed the present day to dictate your art. And we could have never seen the best that you created. Maybe we never see, but I can respect at least looking at my catalog and saying, damn it, you were in pursuit of it every step of the way. You didn't dumb down things because that was the sound of the time. No. If you simplified things, it's because you knew that would get your message across clear. Not because of any kind of relevancy or because This rapper said this, you did that because of you. So my biggest fear is not tapping into untapped potential that I know I have every single tool, every single musician, every single skill set to achieve. I got it. We got Splice. I got Splice right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, have everything, every plugin. I have more sounds than I can humanly use in my lifespan. Untapped potential scares the shit out of me because I'm such a stickler about time. There's no way in hell I look back and say, man, I wish I'd have did more.
It's fucking awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing. You know, me, my entire life, my voice has been my superpower. I've always been able to capture attention with my voice to the point, like, when I was in like 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, class get loud as fuck. If the teacher needed everybody to sit down or something, she would, hey, Dorian, can you know what I mean? And it's the reason that I have my friends, because like I was like the loud nigga, and people either they hated it or they loved it,
right?
And it's the reason women have been attracted to me. It's something about that, being that lion. It protected me in college. It has stopped people from harming me. It has been my ability to have every deep connection I have. And then, basketball is something that I love just as much as I love music. And I was able to coach. And the reason I was able to coach, I had a voice. I had other coaches. Coaches don't really compliment you a lot like that. They would have me speak to the team if a certain message need to get delivered. These are dudes 20 years my senior.
Yeah.
These are dudes who are getting millions, that's my voice. And I approached music when I first started so raw. I was coming at it like that. And I got beat the fuck up, yelling, whoa, all this shit. And it was just like, they silenced me. And every time that I've made a record since, I always have this doubt in my mind, like, am I going to be able to connect with them with my words? And then what happened? I'm like, okay, maybe I lost the gift of connecting with people with my words. And then what the fuck happens? Fucking YouTube takes off. Fucking content. I didn't lose shit. Now it's like, Dorian, you have to figure out how all of that energy, you have to get it into the vocal production where you are able to deliver to them what you want to deliver. Because for me, it's about being an intellectual. It's about being socially conscious. I told my cousin this last week at my mom's 60th birthday party. I saw the Brenda Got a Baby video in her room because she's 7 years older. She was 15. She was upstairs. I was 8. And that was the beginning of my social conscious. Tupac gave that to me. That was Tupac's gift to me.
Yes, sir.
Nas has given me that gift. Jay-Z, Kanye, the list is on and on. I have to give that gift, Curtis. I have to give it to him.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear is like, am I going to be able to give them that same gift that has been given to me, knowing I have the power, knowing I have it? I think this is the reason I love X-Men so much. I know I have the gift, but am I going to be good enough where they fucking connect with it, with the music?
Bro, I love that so much. And I'm gonna talk to you after I get off of here, but just know, before that, I don't have, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have no Black Friday deals. I'm telling you that right now. I got a project that I'm working on right now that I need to nail so I can fully take this break off. It's gonna be something nice. Y'all gonna hear about it a little later. But bro, not that you need it because you got a hell of a machine right now. We here because that's the one thing in this independent spectrum that I think, because people are so, I'm not saying you, I think it's just us. We understand this, but so many people feel like they're lone rangers in this space. I felt like this before. I just need you to know that there ain't no way in hell it's make or break. And I don't extend like, yo, bro, come back on here. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about, however it relates. This ain't no damn charity or nothing like that. This is respect, independent to somebody who's given me so much. Please come back here. We would get a lot of value from you to speak specifically on whatever you think would be the most appropriate product for this audience that you see here that is more than just musicians, bro. Like they're folks who want to generate income talking about the things that they love. That's why they come on here. So I just want to make sure I said that publicly. But bro, let's if I can't have a crazy Black Friday, then I can help do what I can to bring that energy to what you're doing. Because every product that I've gotten from you, you've never disappointed, ever.
Appreciate it, man. Means a lot. All right, brother.
My guy. All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dorian, I really appreciate the patience on y'all, because I know it was a little bit of a longer conversation than what you probably anticipated. Art Greffin, I don't think I've ever had a chance to speak with you in person or on a video, but I know we've talked before. We've talked before in the Zooms and whatnot. But Art Greffin Music, thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna wait for you to get a chance to connect. I'm so glad you guys are appreciating this format. I have a lot of fun hearing from someone other than myself, especially the fact that y'all are giving out so many gems, man. That's a blessing in itself. But yeah, let me make sure I reorganize this one. I love it. I love these kind of conversations. They're necessary. Art Greffin, are you there with us? Are you still connecting? Okay. Mr. Solo Key, what's the deal, bro? He might have already. Hopefully he didn't jump ship. I'll give a little second for you, and then we'll jump to someone else if you're not able to join us. I know I had you on there for a long time. Was worth the time. No apologies. Was good. I appreciate that. Young Villain, this is fire. It's fire hearing from different perspectives on this. That's the thing I'm most excited about. Art Greffin, it's not letting you connect, my friend. Oh, there you go. There you go. You're on mute right now, but hopefully we can hear from you real soon. What's up, Cook Up? Isaac. My God, Isaac. Oh, Isaac. Speaking of which, Isaac, I might have a check for you if all goes according to plan.
Hello?
Art Greffin, how you doing?
Yo, what's going on, man? My bad about that, man.
It's no worries. We dealing with the internet. We didn't see everything. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate being able to get some feedback on this topic that I think a lot of people can relate to in some capacity. I didn't mention this before, but I feel like there's even a lot of younger artists who are still in their teens, even in their 20s, who feel like because of the examples of success that they've seen in their age bracket, they feel behind. And it's the irony of it is just crazy because, you know, you get to every stage and realize that you're a baby to someone, no matter what that age is. And so I asked this question about.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
That's funny. That reminds me of a quote that I say: "No matter how famous you are, you're still a stranger to somebody."
That's it. That's the energy. That's the energy. I love that. I love that. So what is your sort of viewpoint on the topic of it's the topic in general of why does age matter so much within hip hop? And do you believe it matters in the time period we're living in and the ecosystem we're operating in?
Okay, first of all, you're welcome. You said thanks for my patience. You're welcome just for even having this, because I typically am in the chats. I typically don't really like call in or whatever, but this is something that really kind of hit home for me. So thank you for this.
Of course.
Ageism. See, the thing is, as for me, I feel like this: we're all creatures of consciousness that are capable of being constructive or destructive, and we use a lot of things to identify what we consider to be real, or as things as gauges of importance, right? It's like age is always going to be important because it's an identifier, you know, like it helps us to connect to, you know, some type of relatability to folks. It's a form of validation for some people, like when in the school systems, you know, we're around folks who are of the same age as us in certain classes, so on and so forth. And we may see people who are older than us as like the next step. So it's going to be inevitable for us to like do things comparatively. That's just how we are.
Yes, absolutely.
And and the thing is, we are all looking for a template to follow and function. That is inevitable. That is just exclusive to existence. And when it comes to hip hop, it's funny because I almost look at it like it's school. Like coming up, the rappers that I looked at, they were not the same age as me. They were all older than me.
Yeah. it doesn't dawn on you till you get to that age and you're like, oh my God, you were this age talking like this? That's
exactly.
my crazy thing. I'm just like, there's no way at this age.
Yeah. just like how I say, we look at people who are older than us as the next step because we're always looking for a template to follow. Like it could be older sister, it could be our parents, it could be whoever. Now, the funny thing about it is we are, it's just nuts because we all, like, let's say if I found someone to be younger who, or say someone who was, let's say, young and they were rapping like the same age as me, I wouldn't really connect with them that much because they were, I mean, yes, they were meant to certain things that I may relate to. Like, I don't know, back in the days, you remember the Youngsters?
The Youngsters, that name sounds supremely familiar.
Yeah, there's a group from Philly, like they came out in the early 90s. They were like young kids.
Okay.
You know, it was like a trio. Now, they were cool, but they didn't sound like the older dudes who was having like the best rhymes in the world.
Right.
So regardless, let's say like relatability, I know the Youngsters was there, but I'm listening to KRS-One in them. Even if I didn't totally understand them. Yeah. But I looked at them as the next step. There was a disconnect in the fact that I never met them.
Yeah.
But them putting themselves out there and them speaking to me about certain things felt as if I'm open, like they're open to bring in people to this information. So there was like a connection or growth. So in regards to hip hop, as far as to say age, I looked at it as, okay, they're adults, but they're saying things to me to help me learn some lessons. Like, yo, I'm at this point, y'all need to catch on. We're gonna help you along.
See, and that's when I fell in love with hip hop, bro. Like that to me was what gave it's funny because even the evolution of gangster rap is different, right? There was a point in time where of course it still got criticized by the government, it got censored and all these different things, but there was a time where they would have a reason why the violence was happening. I'm going to do this to you because of the disrespect that you did X. Like there's a cause and effect. Now the evolution of it is the most savage raps now are the ones where it's like no rhyme and no reason. I had a rapper that came in here for critique my beats, and he was talking about, shooting up somebody and then shooting up the kids, and I'm just like, that's where we're at. There's like, and there's no justifiable reason for it, but it's like that's where we're at, where it's no longer, I remember Razcast used to say like at least in that ecosystem, the other ecosystem, that rap is CNN of the streets. It's no longer that anymore. It's if it is, it's the fake news era of it, where it's like we got to create something salacious for you guys to focus on for ratings because we're competing with social media and these other platforms. That's what it now becomes, where the art was imitating life, but now it's like life is imitating the art because of these mantras and things that are put out there. But you make a lot of great points. So I guess my question to you is, what does one do in our ecosystem as a first step, in your opinion, of embracing the age that they're at, of talking about the things that are relatable to them without a template?
Oof. It's funny.
It's
like, I'm somebody that's full of quotes, and that reminded me of a quote I came up with years ago.
Okay.
One of the best ways to predict the future is to create it.
I like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's like no problem. And the thing is, to kind of like go back like a little bit in the combo, I feel like there's a fear. I also believe that there's a fear of an intellectual rebellion, to be honest. Like when hip hop was getting like stronger in regards to, let's say, spreading information,
right?
Like when you had like people like Public Enemy, KRS-One, you had a nice diversified portfolio of music, right, where people were reinforced to have their own sound. You had a De La Soul, you had an NWA, you had a Tribe, you had all these people. Even though like it wasn't as expansive as it is now, there was still glorified, it was still like enforced and encouraged for people to have their own sound. It was like, yo, even the rule in hip hop, don't bite.
That was a huge one.
Yep. And a thing that I say in life too, influence is inevitable, but creativity is a choice too.
Just full of gems, community gems. Let's go. I love it.
And it's one of those things where, you know, like I learned from that. Like hip hop is like the most influential genre in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it taught me, amongst other things, to have my own sound.
Yeah.
From production to drawing to sculpture to whatever. It was one of the things that connected to me because the people in it, whether older or younger, they sounded like the folks that were in my neighborhood. Even though when hip hop started out to a certain degree, it was seen as a fad. And over time it's proven to not be a fad. It's going to be 50 years old next year.
Yeah.
You know, the elders, some of the elders didn't like some of the vulgar, aggressive language from the rappers early on, even in these times today to a degree. Since, you know, previous music genres, like let's say soul, R&B or whatever, they made their impact already. You know, hip hop seemed more conversational in expression, thus the need to tell it like it is. And that type of raw expression drew a lot of people in. Not everybody was willing to already like going to sing. Not everybody's going to quote unquote dance, but it's like, wait a minute, I can do this poetry. I can talk like this in a way, in a rap. You know, just think of the evolution of flows. Like poetry was a part of music, but the fact that something like that has advanced to rap songs, or even let's say battle rap, so on and so forth,
right,
that has now spanned, with the help of other elements, to be a damn near 50-year
It's crazy, bro. That is crazy. And they probably never, I know they didn't predict that it would form into what it is, as dominant as it is in terms of the market share of music, successful selling music, still even selling music, not just streaming, selling music. It still dominates the market. But the trend is showing that that's changing, and the gap is starting to close because other genres are providing what I think the people are in need of right now. Like I see somebody was mentioning, you know, no rappers make it past their 30s. I think this idea of, so James Allen said there's no rap artist that starts in their mid 30s, don't matter what subject matter. Here's the issue. Starts in their mid 30s, no rapper. You're combining ecosystems, and I'm going to make sure I nail this next year. Next year, this is going to be a word you're going to be sick of, ladies and gentlemen. Different ecosystems. In the ecosystem of the major label, yes, you're absolutely right. There's no, unless they can find a way to make it profitable, a 30-year-old who's going crazy on TikTok, and they'll flip that into something, they'll be the first of that. But in our ecosystem, the rules change. The rules shift. And especially now, I think part of that gap that's closing of the dominance of hip hop is because people need something different. Hip hop has always happened in cycles, right? At the time, I remember I read a book about Tupac by Michael Eric Dyson, and he was talking about there was an era where NWA was on the same tour as Fresh Prince.
Oh yeah.
Like when I read that, I know I was still young. I was born in '85. I was still young, but I'm like, I never remembered or even heard about that. But I'm like, that was a norm. Now, you won't see things like that unless it's happening in the independent sphere. So I make this point that many of us are following through from rules that have been established by the other ecosystem, and we take them as law for all ecosystems. And I think when we recognize that which one we're in and which one we absolutely want to pursue, the rules change, or you understand where you're getting it wrong at. That's just my theory on it.
I have one extra thing to also say.
Oh, for sure.
Guru from Gangstar was in his late 20s, I think 28 when he started.
That's wild, and became one of the most prolific writers. One of the most sought after, and that's what I'm getting. And I think that's partly on us too, right? To a certain degree. And that's why I'm glad that you're given the abundance of knowledge that you have, and for all the younger artists and producers that are listening right now, like, I never want you to get from my channel that it's old energy trying to tell young energy how to do it. We're just breaking the cycle of what has already been in place from the other ecosystem. They don't want the younger artists to listen to the older artists, because if you're still impressionable and if you're not told what's down the line, what's going to happen if you get over here, you're going to repeat the same mistakes, and it's going to be even more profitable than it was when we were that age. So we have to have these conversations, and we have to be open so that you understand it's coming from a place of love and not judgment. But
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, but I want to let you expand on this. But last thing I want to say about this is that we have to understand when we're saying certain things that we think are fact, we're actually just repeating the business plan as it's been sought out and explained by that other ecosystem. That other ecosystem, every time I see somebody say, but rappers don't do this, I immediately think about, you're talking about the other ecosystem. You're mixing together two different, it's like mixing together politics of a union, of a supermarket union, and politics of a plumber's union. Like there's two different it's two different jobs. There's two different types of unions and different demands that they have in order to unionize. It's the same thing with what we're doing. That's why you cannot. Last thing I'll say, you cannot talk about a producer union that combines both of the ecosystems. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that other ecosystem, for me, what I've noticed is like there's a fear of natural growth and personal development, and like it's a field that thrives in toxicity.
Yeah,
you know, like there's a division. If there's a division between the elders and the youngsters from sharing info, it prevents a lane of progression and seeing themselves as factors in making things better in a healthy way. You know, it won't be conducive to a healthy working environment.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? Like it reminds me, and just to add on too, like it's vital for people to have their own style. Like I'm 38.
Right.
I'm glad. Like you can relate to this too.
Right.
I'm sure you're glad that you came up in a time frame where you've seen the reinforcement of have your own style of doing something.
I'm so
learn
glad.
from the environment.
Oh my gosh.
But apply what you can for your recipe destiny.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure that you apply the right things. Make sure you can incorporate it into your well-being so that you can form your own lane.
Yes.
And it's a factor in what's one of the main things that keep you alive today as a person, not just as a businessman or as a family man, but as a living, breathing person.
Man, that's such a gem. That's such a gem. That's such a gem. It reminds me of something I was told 2 days ago. I was talking to my guy, Stevie Crooks, and he was saying, you notice how art is appreciated. The Picassos and, the Van Goghs, how it's appreciated in the museums, right? All the politics aside about who can afford it, let's take that out the conversation for right now. These pieces of art are so unique and so magnificent that generation after generation, they are framed, protected, roped off, and guarded by security because of their uniqueness. They're one of one. There's only one. There's Mona Lisa copies, but there's only one Mona Lisa where you walk around that room and she's staring at you with the original oil painting or whatever that was that they used for that. And he was like, that is lost that is lost on a lot of music now. And so much of it is not just younger artists who are copying each other, but it's also older artists who are in chase of relevancy in that other ecosystem, who are in their 40s talking about, you know what I'm saying, like making Instagram songs, like theme songs and TikTok songs, and trying to break into the dance space of TikTok. Now, if you Uncle Luke, that's been your space since the 80s. You should run that, do that. But if you have been a rapper that has been awarded for your uniqueness and your lyricism and the way that you approach songwriting, and your evolution comes out of nowhere I'm just all of a sudden going to be somebody I've never been before, and I don't even go to the club, but I just want to make, to me, it gets to a place where, yes, you can challenge yourself creatively, but you're also getting away from that legacy, that catalog, that one day somebody will say, now you see this? He wasn't appreciated back in these times because it was still really early and very pioneering years. But this is the catalog. Like, that means something.
And knowing that hip hop is about to be 50 next year is interesting. This is one of the reasons why when 21 Savage said what he said, I don't fault him too much. Sometimes people may not express what they're trying to say. They may not articulate their points. So I don't really feel too crazy about what he said, but at the same time, he contradicted himself. He said he's not relevant, but he has a fan base. That's indicative of being relevant.
Which in that ecosystem makes you relevant.
Right. And it's like, it's one of those weirdest things because with hip hop, and the fact that I'm glad that people like Nas and Jay are still pushing, because they're the ones setting a template for what success or just longevity can be like at that age, because hip hop has never been there before. You know, hip hop is one of the latest genres that come after R&B, soul, jazz. They had to face that early criticism, you know, and now it's at a point where it's like, what does it look like? And they're setting the template. The fact that hip hop is expansive to the point that people like Griselda, which they started getting really popular in their 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we're living in a time now where there's an exception to every rule, which there's always been, but now there's multiple versions of it that say, hey, if you really want to do this, but you feel like you have to do this, you know you don't have to do that, right?
Right.
There's enough examples that are around now that are saying, like, not only is there examples in templates, which is so brilliant that you said that, not only are there examples in templates, but what if it's being called upon you? Since you can't find any examples of what it exactly that you're trying to see out in the ecosystems that exist, what if the reason you can't see it is because you're actually the person that has to be it?
Which comes into play with a very hardcore lesson I had to learn within the last year or two.
What's that?
Seek solutions. Don't seek a savior. Because in seeking solutions, you become your own savior. You know, it's one of those things where, as you said earlier, and the thing is, when you said earlier that you were waiting for your favorite rapper to do something, it was like, it reminded me of that quote. And it's such a true thing where it's like, you can have all these ideas waiting in the wind. And it's something that we all struggle. No one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life.
Absolutely.
But it's a matter of seeing yourself as a factor in making things happen. You know, if you're not, you can have all the support in the world as far as numbers of people. But if you yourself you can know what the options are, but if you don't believe in yourself and making that a real thing, or manifesting that, you know, you're doubting, you're preventing yourself from creating something magnificent. You know, you're denying life, you're denying making things into a real thing for you to prove it to yourself. Like those internal victories, sometimes it's the coolest thing in the world, where it's like, yo, I actually did this. People may not see it, but it's like, yo, I actually did this. I did it. Actually, like, this is why it's cool having those little lists of like accomplishments or tasks, because it's so vital to create your own thing and do your own thing. It's so important. And it's one of those things where, as people get older, they may have folks who may say, nah, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't. Don't make that song. Don't make that, because they feel like they haven't seen enough people of a certain age bracket to do it. But the thing is, as you said, what if you're one of the people to help make that a real thing?
Yeah, well, not even one of the people. What if you're that person that you see so? Because, you know, a lot of us have such vivid imagery as artists and producers. That's a part of our job description, right?
Oh, yeah.
But what if, like, because I always see people make comparisons. Even in my Patreon group, we talk about this, where there was an artist that
I have to join that Patreon group one day.
Man,
at some point I will.
Look, it's there. We're gonna be there, and we will gladly welcome you. It's like the CKTV times 10, because now it's a lot more organized, I should say. But
okay.
But with that, we were talking about one particular producer who was afraid to launch on his ideas, because every time he launched, he felt like somebody was already doing that. Like somebody new was coming up, and he's like, that's the sound I was going to go for. And I'm like, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to you. And he's like, why? I'm like, you now cannot use that as the crutch. You see an example of your idea manifesting itself into success in the other ecosystem that you're not even trying to get into. You now have proof of concept, even though it's not necessarily your actions that did it, right? But you see it works. Cool. Now take that, put it in your back pocket, and find another way to evolve beyond that, because that can't be your only thing. If that's your only thing, there's a bunch of folks that got one-trick ponies that can take that from you and run whatever you're doing. So you're given the opportunity now to see somebody go in their trajectory and be that first one. Oh, I'm not going to do that when I get there. Cool. Let me take that, put it in my back pocket. Now evolve over here. If somebody becomes that, now you can take that. So like we, in this ecosystem of independence, we have the biggest advantage because we can see it, we can do it, and we can see what it looks like afterwards. I have been trying to be number one on the hip hop iTunes charts for 3 projects.
Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate that, autograph. For 2 projects, actually. And they both went to number 4. And there was a voice in my head that said, well, maybe that's just what it is. You offered a huge package for those who pre-order the project. You got it at a pretty substantial level. Maybe that's what it is. And I stopped pursuing it until DIY 2, which I felt like, okay, it's got to be different this time. We've done videos that took me an average of 18 to 20 hours to edit every single one. We have better packages now. We have more support. My audience is larger. And sure enough, in running it the way that we did and getting everybody involved, you guys are the ones that lifted it up to number 1. It's crazy. I look in the emails and I literally see so many names that I recognize and don't recognize. And then beyond that, the gifts didn't stop there. The gifts started coming from people who were like, hey, you want to come to a Chargers game? Just because people, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to be braggadocious, but I'm saying that to say that our victories may not be loud because other people are comparing it to the other ecosystem. But damn it if it ain't real.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take that away.
It's like
what,
a thing I say.
Go ahead.
Like, it's like no matter what you feel, hope, and imagine, ain't nothing like making it happen.
Jeez, you full of the gems, man. I didn't already know this, but I feel like this is more vocal than you probably were back then. But I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate your wisdom. So, any last words that you could offer of encouragement to those who are currently kind of in their own cycle of concern about, well, you know, I hear what you guys are saying, but age is still something that I think about often. What kind of words of encouragement would you have for them?
It's a tough call because I know a lot of folks are going to go through their, you know, everyone has their own pace of learning, thus different pace of living. The one thing I'll say is this: the skills and the talents that you pick up as you are continuing to live, those are the things that's gonna, they're extensions of you, you know, cherish them, nurture them, cultivate them, because those are the things that help to show you who you are. Even the things that you have in your mind that you want to manifest, understand you're experiencing those things and you're seeing, sometimes you may not know how great those things are. It may frustrate you that you have yet to fully manifest it. But the fact that you have those things, those talents, you give a damn. If you give a damn, you have enough, it shows that you want to do something. Sometimes that need to want to do more isn't just, yay, I did it. It's, man, I want to knock this out. I got to finish my homework. That right there is something cool to hold on to, because it shows that there's some fire in your life.
It's good problems.
You know, don't let that go. Hold on to it, because those are the things, even in your darkest hour when you feel like you're about to cry or whatever, understand that those talents and skills that you have are the things that's keeping you, they're valuable. Okay. Yeah. Those are the things that help define you, even before anyone else recognizes it. The fact that you recognize it and you give a damn, you want to do better. You may have your doubts, but you didn't take yourself out.
Yeah.
You're still here for a reason.
Oh man. Art Greffin. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta get a round of applause. Art Greffin. That's these are the gems that were needed, the perspective that's needed, because you know, we are in a society that it's going to take some time for them to understand what this is that we're doing and why it matters so much to us, and why we can no longer live by the rules that have been set out by an industry that has different motives, the other ecosystem, as I'll say. But Art Greffin, I appreciate your time. I want to get some other folks in here, but man, thank you, and I hope to talk to you real soon, whether here or the Patreon or whatnot. But it's good to hear from you, man.
I definitely will, man. I know I've been off the radar, but I'm definitely going to try to come out of the cave a little bit more.
It's all good. Well, just know that your thoughts are very much appreciated here. The folks are in here loving the feedback that you, or the game that you've been given. So thank you so much, brother.
Okay, no problem.
All right, talk to you soon. Here we go. Art Greffin, ladies and gentlemen. That's That right there, that right there, that right there, that right there is what I do this for. That's exactly what I do this for. Isaac, man, are you still in here? If this the Isaac that I think it is, Isaac, I might. Yeah, that's Isaac, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Isaac. Lazy Eye Music, yes it is.
How's it going, man?
Hey, man, it's going good, bro. I can't talk too much about it here, but man, I may have a nice little check for you coming real soon because of some work that we did together. Because you know what I'm saying, we got a little sync opportunity or something, something like
Let's
that.
Get it, man.
I hope so. Either way, brother, I appreciate you taking a second away because I know you got the family. I know you've been working, but I would love to get your perspective on this conversation, on this topic of age and hip hop. Why does it still matter? Does it still matter? And what are some other perspectives that we can take it as?
Man, I kind of want to, off the rip, like off the back, man. Everybody, man, that's been talking to you, great conversations, greght points, a lot of gems.
Agreed, man.
Shout out to the chat as usual.
They've been blessing.
But I want to, I want to say, of course, age doesn't matter. But at the same time, I kind of want to side with the youth a little bit.
Okay.
Just to play, like you say, the advocate. You know what I mean? And it's in a different aspect when it comes to, like you said, the both ecosystems. It's different views, a different, situation. But in general, or from my view, at least from an artistic standpoint, we owe the youth a lot. And not just hip hop, in many genres of creating genres. Because if you look at hip hop, especially in its roots, I mean, these were like kids that were creating this music and teenagers and these DJs that were having these block parties and taking, these records and creating this new music and having an MC on the mic control the crowd. You know what I mean? And it was a way for them to be expressive. It was a way to have a good time. And later it developed more into, speaking more truths about the lives they were living. And I just, there, like I said, the fact that, they did so much with that, but then at the same flip side, the adults looked at it and shunned on it. And like, what is this noise? You're taking my favorite soul records, my disco records, my jazz records, and you turn it into this noise. But the willingness of the youth to experiment and to use what they had, you know what I mean? They didn't have access to studios. They didn't have access to instruments. You know what I mean? A lot of them were in a poor situation and stuff, but they still created this music. Same thing with punk music. You know what I mean? A lot of the early punk bands were teenagers and kids that created this subgenre. Same thing with rock and roll. There's a lot of great things that came from youth of the past. You know what I mean? Even as rock music emerged to metal music, and people before them that were older looked at it, looked at that and it was like, man, what is this noise? And same thing with the new metal. And you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just always been a cycle of the youth having this vitality and willingness to want to create, but also wanting to experiment and taking everything that they were surrounded by growing up, where there was many genres of music, you know what I mean, influences, and just merging it and using what they had. Yeah. Some of the greatest like genres, man, is just took like a bunch of kids who were just wanting to express themselves, access to what they can get a hold of. Some of them were actual good musicians, real musicians. Some were trained, some weren't, and just making what they could and expressing themselves. So I think we owe the youth in general, especially of the past, a lot of respect because of that. To further push the cultures of many genres. Now, on the flip side, this, we're talking about these ecosystems. Nowadays, I mean, I guess that's kind of the thing that's lacking a lot is the, pushing of a experimental sound or new sounds. I mean, it's been done constantly. People are always, creating and mixing genres, which I think is a very exciting time now that we live in. But when it comes to like the other ecosystem, like the labels and stuff like that, I mean, to them, I think they kind of push that youth is necessary for hip hop in general, just because, there's a lot of things that come with it. I mean, the vast majority I say of the music now, the youth is drawn to what gets released now, or the music that gets, on the radio or playing in the clubs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, there's a lot of upsides and like negatives and positive as being a youth, especially like in the industry is, you have the strength, the energy, the vitality, and to connect with people your age. And but on the flip side again, the negativity is like, not speaking for anybody in particular, but the youth usually are not as rational as you are when you're 30, 40, 50.
Well, your brain don't fully develop until you get 25. That's been documented many a times, is that these folks, as genius as they are, I see somebody brought up Triple X. Triple X Tentacion said some brilliant things way beyond his years. But 25 is
also,
when your brain fully develops. You're good. You're good. Huh?
No, I was saying, and also like you're saying, the brains are and then on top of that, it's like, the youth, whether they want to admit it or not, the youth is a lot more easier manipulated. I mean, we all can be, but like you said, because of the brain. But continue. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, I think it's even easier now, and this is from my younger heads in here. I think it's easier now to manipulate you, not because you're more vulnerable or because you're dumb. I think it's easier because they just need to find out what's your drug of choice, and they have more metrics on you than they ever had on me. Back in MySpace and all these different social platforms, nowhere near the algorithms that y'all are dealing with now, to the point where, as Dorian talked about earlier, you can literally make eye contact with a post for 2 or 3 seconds, and that gives a little bit of data to that AI to suggest more things like that. Have you ever found yourself looking at Facebook and you're like, man, it feels like so many people are dying? You ever really look back into that and realize that you stop scrolling? This happened to me. You stop scrolling on your timeline when somebody says RIP, because you're thinking, I wonder if it's somebody that I know. And then you read through it. You may even look at the comments. It's like, man, that's really sad. He was remembered by a lot of folks. And then you read through it. That is giving metrics to the algorithm that says this person engages with posts like this. So the next time you sign in, all you will see is RIPs. And the same thing applies to whatever it is that you're influenced by. If it's, I seen somebody say like this, and not to go too deep because I don't want to talk above my my expertise, but someone was saying something along the lines of these social medias also appeal to that sex monster that exists in a lot of folks. And if they're able to take that from you and make you, do whatever you need to do to relieve that monster, it makes you even more weaker. You're losing vitamins, and you're in a place where you're more susceptible to anything that's being suggested to you through lyrics, through imagery, through videos. Now all of a sudden something that you say I'd never do becomes just a fraction of a more appealing, because you have been put into a state that is more vulnerable. So if you think that you're above it, I hate to say it, no matter what you're into, does not matter. They have a distraction for you. That is the new drug. The distraction is the new drug. Your time on social media, and this is from somebody, raise my hand. I spend a lot of time on social media because it's part of my business, but I spend a lot of unneeded time. That's why I'm taking a break in December. But your time equals their money. The more time you spend on social media, the more time you're likely to spend money.
Yes. Yep. And that's the I think the huge downside when it comes to that ecosystem, man, is just, because like I said, in its roots and its core, there was something very special and great. And then, the top tier people that, saw it as an opportunity to make money, like they always had with all music of the past. And because of that, since it's a money making thing, and now it's become even more so in the sense that the shift in just music in general and how it's being mass produced now. And, everybody has so much access to so much information now, it's just like, how can we make money the fastest? And if an artist burns out, that's what is another reason why these young artists get thrown in so fast, because they can be carbon copies. It's like an assembling line, man. You can get a 18-year-old kid, have a 3-year career, and if he burns out, just find somebody else, throw him in there. You know what I mean? It's just the industry has seen that blueprint, and you've seen it. You can look in the past literally 10 years and all these artists that had quick careers, you know what I mean, and just came and went. You know what I mean? And they didn't even make it to 30.
They even make it to 30.
Know, and
this is what also got me thinking. I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry, but I feel like this is what also got me thinking why they're so aggressive about AI technology and AI rappers, because at least think about it from the most coldest point of view. Try to remove. I'm going to try to say this in a way that helps you to understand where I'm coming from, ladies and gentlemen. Not you, Isaac, because I've said it to you before. But if you were a cold-hearted businessman or businesswoman, isn't this the most genius idea to stop dealing with human beings who keep disappointing you, rappers that keep dying and keep messing up your streams of income? And then when they die, yes, you get a surge of 300% streams, but now I got to go find another you. Okay, well, I found another you. What would happen if I had AI technology that could produce a you that would never die? He would never age.
Sick, never age, yep.
You know what I'm saying? Never have beef with anybody unless, and then if he had beef, you can't kill him. He's programmed. So I look at that and I'm like, that's exactly what they wanted the whole time. They've just been using humans as the guinea pigs for it. And not even on some conspiracy thing. I think that's what they wanted the whole time. A 360 deal sounds appealing to a robot without emotions.
Yep.
Just do the work for me.
It's true. It's real. Yeah.
So now I'm going to back out because that's not my ecosystem. I'm going to shut up. That's not my ecosystem.
Right.
In this ecosystem, though, the respect has to come from you, for yourself first. Because if you're looking around for respect amongst your peers, they're not caught up yet. This ecosystem hasn't caught up yet. How do I know? Because many of us are not even prideful of our independence. Many of us look at our independence as a handicap. Man, if I only had this, if I only had this person, if I only had a manager, if I only had that, is a mindset of scarcity. And that's the very thing holding you back from unlocking the blessings that your art can give to you right now. That's the only point I wanted to make. I'm sorry, I cut you right in the middle.
No, you're good, man. That's, and talking about, the independent ecosystem. I mean, I feel like it's awesome because, in these past few years of just like people really, pushing that forward more and more. And you're like seeing it live, you know what I mean? You're seeing these people like showing that they don't need, these higher ups and all these deals that, you know what I mean, that they sign their life away to. And then we learn from the greats that the deals they did when they were in their 20s, you know what I mean, they were doing those 360 deals. And now that they're older and they realize, and you know what I mean, they didn't get paid as much as they should have and they well deserved. It's just like we're learning from their blueprint in that aspect. And so people, we're just like, we don't want to go through that. You know what I mean? That's why you see all these videos talking about, why I left the industry, why, I didn't sign this deal. Why, you know what I mean? Why go independent? Because it's meant to just use you to make money. And as long as they can, and, you get nickels and dimes while you just grow old in a short period of time and just working and working and working, you know what I mean? And then hopefully you're one of that small percentile that makes it huge. And then you can make, actual, lifelong career.
Right.
And it's just, it's crazy, man, but that's just, in reality, that's what it is. So being independent, it's just, you have so much more control. And you may not get to that status, you know what I mean? But it's just all, in the end, it's about having control of your own art, having control of your own music, having the ability to, like you said, if you wish an artist would do this or do this, is like having the ability to be the artist or better in your own eyes, or be more creative, be more experimental, not having a label to tell you like, oh, that's not going to work. We don't want to hear that. That's too different. That's too crazy. You know what I mean? No, you're your own person.
That's the thing that gets me, bro, is that we keep, once again, I'm going to use this example of the other ecosystem, that music industry is a long line inside of a haunted house. Everybody's excited about going inside of it, even though people are screaming from the window, "Don't come in here! I'm suicidal! I hate my publishing deal! You're gonna hate it! Everybody changed my life!" Like, they're singing it in their own ways, and they're yelling it from the windows as they're inside on the second floor. Then there's people that come out the other side and have no life in their face. They look like they've lost everything that they started music for. And then some people that go in don't even come out the house because they don't make it out alive.
Yeah.
But people still want to go in there. And I do feel like we're at a place where this makes me thankful for AI because it's going to force people out of that line.
Yeah. You're right.
Now you got to change your entertainment. Now, what is it that you want to pursue? Now, what you want to pursue now? Because now this game, it seems like, is transitioning to force you into being independent. Because if the machine, the ecosystem that exists over there, if they over there decide we don't need beats from producers because, you know, we don't need beats from beat makers, Sus Bunny voice, because now y'all want to act like music producers and have 17 people on your melody loops. I'm not criticizing you. I think it's a messed up system, and they taught y'all that. The real producers who criticize you for that, they taught y'all that. So now the AI system says, the labels say, what if we did this? AI. What if we did this? AI producer, AI rapper, we don't got to split any money with anybody. We get all the money. And we push it to impressionable youth on TikTok who were looking at these folks as video game characters. Isaac, haven't I said that before? And that's kind of crazy. I'm making that connection. Haven't I said it? How like people come into commentary sometimes and they talk to us and it's like, do you think I'm one of your Fortnite characters?
Yeah.
I don't like your hair like that. Could you change your beard? Like, you talking to me like I'm one of your creative players. But now, guess what? The labels are in on it, and they figured out the same way that creative player is appealing to you. Now they can create an AI bot that doesn't have to wait to grow hair. He can get braids in one programming. Doesn't have to wait until, you know what I'm saying? He can push out songs faster than anything you've ever seen before. That's what they want. So now, what does that leave us in the other ecosystem is the question. So, Isaac, I want to end with you on this one. I want to make sure that if you had any other points, I want to make sure that you nail that home. But also, the last question I have for you is, what words of encouragement do you have for producers who feel like they're getting to an age where other people around them are pressuring them about their age or telling them how, you know, this dream should be let go or whatever the case may be? They're discouraged by it. But yeah, first I want to make sure you make your point first.
I want just touching back on that AI stuff, man. It's here already here. It's coming. It's already here, and you know, you can either, if you decide, you can either work with it. You know what I mean? Like we have as producers, like when they introduce, you know, these VSTs that create melodies and stuff like that. You either accept it, you know what I mean, or it's gonna happen regardless if you believe it or not. So, you know, you touching on those points, it's true, man, and it's already starting. It's just gonna get more into that direction.
Can I just address this really quick, real quick on this one? Copio says an AI bot can't create original dope music. Yeah, you're right, but guess who they're using to program it? Those who make original dope music. And guess what? Those 16, 15-year-olds don't care about the same things that you care about because they're not making music. It's all a game to them.
Yeah. The view of a fan and a producer or musician is so different. You can just talk to somebody who's a fan of music who knows nothing about creating, and you'll just be surprised what they tell you when they describe music. Man. You're just like, wow, you know what I mean? So someone just hears something and it's catchy, memorable. Who cares how it got made?
That's
you know what I mean?
It's their soundtrack.
And we're going to be the ones that are going to be mainly complaining because, you know, producers are going to be out of a job, or artists are going to be like, you know, this is all just AI, and, you know, it's going to be the musicians, the producers, the artists, and everybody complaining. Where the fans who just listen to music, they're not going to know the difference.
Isaac, you know what you just helped me understand? You know who's going to be out of a job? Industry producers.
Yep.
You know who's going to be out of a job, rap-wise? Industry rappers. That's what it comes down to. Y'all have been duped. Respectfully, I love my art, I love my community, but I gotta always make sure I keep it funky with you. And I'm sorry, Isaac, you've been very patient. I hate cutting you off.
No, you're good, bro.
But you inspiring a lot of thoughts. Y'all have been lied to. You've been lied to. And you have been made to be fearful about a boogeyman called AI that is not coming for your job. It's coming for the jobs of the people that you want to occupy. That other ecosystem, it's coming for them. Then they can't use clout no more to influence you. Now they got to get down here in the dirt with you and us. Now they got to
you've said that yourself many times that, you know, you've been doing this so long, and then it was like basically shunned upon, you know, top producers or whatever. And then now they're doing the same things many years later, trying to play catch up because their income stopped.
Hit me up.
Or they, you know what I mean?
Hit me up for advice. Now you got to come to this game and you got to start from scratch, because there's probably a 17-year-old producer who has been studying you since they were 14 and has now surpassed you because the industry hasn't allowed you to show everything else that you do.
Yep.
That's the reality of it now. So now you have an advantage, independent music producers. For those of you that are not distracted by the other ecosystem, you have an advantage, a huge advantage. The moment that you first unlock it in your brain, this is the time I have to do it. I have to do it here. I have to do it here. If AI takes jobs, good. It's taking the right jobs. It's taking the right ones. It's taking if AI is the reason you stop producing, good. Bye-bye. If AI is the reason that you stop rapping, glorious. Put your pad away. Put your little iPhone notes away. Stop rapping. Everybody else who remains really wanted to do this.
And that was the point I pretty much wanted to close off with.
For
was,
sure.
Any
You
advice
got the mic.
was
I'm
that
gonna stand back.
that in general, if things that you see like that, you know what I mean? If you're basing your drive on what's happening, what's gonna happen, artists, other producers, you know what I mean? Like, you might as well just stop, man. You have to have that drive yourself of wanting to create just music. You have to have that in your mind that it's like, I will be doing this, living this, whether or not internet existed. You know what I mean? Whether or not I was gonna get clout for it, if I was gonna get famous. No. Like, I'm gonna be creating music. I've been creating since I was a kid to now. I'll be creating until I die. Like, that's just how it is. I don't, if the internet just crashed tomorrow, guess what? I'm still gonna be making music because that's just my life. That's just what I love. You know what I mean? It's my way of expression, healing, inspiring other people to create, collabing.
I love it.
The sense of the community of musicians that collab and artists and producers is just so much more to it than just the dollar. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's just something you got to remind yourself is like, why are you really doing this? Is your mind just set on trying to get that money, trying to get famous and all that? You even hear the top producers say that, like, just do it because you love it, and then that money will come. You know what I mean? The accolades will come. You know what I mean? Stop chasing it. You always hear people. I mean, I'm a fan of like watching those interviews. Like, shout out to Producer Grind that does all those interviews with producers and stuff, and they always say the same stuff. Is like, stop chasing it. Just, you know what I mean? Create. You know what I mean? Grow with an artist. Do this and that. You know what I mean? All these different advice is just about the music, man. Stay true to the music. You know what I mean?
I love that message, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate your
appreciate
wisdom,
you, bro.
my guy. I always. So I'm gonna be in touch with you real soon because after this, I gotta actually jump back into this project that I think you're gonna be really excited about. But, man,
Dope.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Isaac, Lazy Eye Music. Thank you so much, bro.
No problem, bro. You have a good night. Shout out to the chat. I'll catch you.
Me too.
Peace.
Family. All right, I think we're gonna end it there. I still got more stuff that I gotta get done tonight. If I didn't get a chance to get to you, I apologize. I see there's a few more people that were in here rocking, but I have to go finish this project. I have a deadline for tomorrow morning. Thank you to every single one of you that either left a message in here in the chat, that left a like. Thank you to every single one of you that jumped on this Zoom. I know it's not easy. I know for some of you, you may never be live, right? For some of you, that was the first time you talked here in front of the audience. So I got to make sure, one more time, salute to you. Salute to you. It's not easy. It's not easy. I do this, and I think I take for granted sometimes how long I've been doing it. Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate it. Did you guys enjoy this stream? Did you guys enjoy this stream? That's the most important thing. I really like doing this, and it seems like you guys are really open to it. If you missed it last time, I am leaning towards creating a primarily streaming channel here. I've made a lot of content. But there's other places I need to evolve in. This aspect right here, this community aspect, this to me gives me life. It allows me to see if I'm talking to the right folks. when I say certain things. Sometimes I say things and I'm thinking of one or two of you, and that's how I keep my message so strong. Other times, I'm talking into a vacuum, and I don't know who's going to get the message, but I know I have to deliver it. Hearing from you, getting gems from you, that excites me. That excites me, and I want to continue to evolve, and I appreciate that, Planet Guap. And I'll be real with you. That may mean less producer content next year. We'll still do this, but that may mean less producer content. And it's not because I'm tired of it. It's not because I'm emotional about it. It's because I'm ready to grow. I'm more than just a producer. I'm still going to produce. I love producing. I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm still going to make music, but I need to make more music instead of talking about music. These are just some thoughts that I'm going to go into as I get into my hiatus in December. But more live streams for sure are going to happen next year. Exactly. Planet Guap said you have a mission. You ain't never lied about that. And I want to highlight what y'all do within this community more. There's enough videos about me. And if that means viewership goes down, which I don't believe it will, then it does. I don't operate in that other ecosystem. Let me leave you with this. I don't operate in that other ecosystem anymore. That other ecosystem is none of my business. It's none of my business. What this famous rapper did, what this famous producer did, what this famous person did, that's not my ecosystem. And trying to find ways to get the admiration of them is the biggest distraction that I could ever have towards advancing the very thing that I came here to do. I want to make music. And I don't want there to be a longer gap than the last 5 years between projects where I look back and say I'm 50, 60, and I look back at this period of time where I'm like, yeah, I created a lot of content, but did you make music? No, I didn't. So I need to fix that, and I want to fix that. And the channel has a great foundation of content, but it's time to advance from here. I've been being transparent with you. I've been in a box, and I've been stuck. Trying to figure out how to grow this channel, trying to manually push my growth, push the growth of this channel through. And every step of the way, there's been something else that's popped up that's like, damn, why is it happening? Like, why is it not cracking off? Video production went crazy this year. Damn, it's being appreciated by the community, but it's not doing the numbers. And that's when it dawned on me. I'm still playing one foot in one ecosystem, which is the popularity game, and one foot in the other ecosystem. I am independent, damn it. I'm independent. And that doesn't mean that I am supposed to, by default, have less viewership or less reach, because we've done some amazing numbers, especially on Instagram specifically. But it's not about that. When you say that you're independent, you're saying that you have pride in the product that you create, no matter who shows up. You have pride in the music that you perform, no matter who shows up to the show. You have pride, and you also have foresight that no matter what hole-in-the-wall club you perform at, no matter what exclusive, very small venue that you're at, you have it in your eyes. These four or five people will become 10 one day. That 10 will turn to 20. These are stories that I heard Tech-9 talk about when he first went to San Diego and first performed there. And 20 people turn into 40. But until we fix our mindset and our focus on this independence, we'll always be straddling the fence, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and we'll never move anywhere. I want to see you guys win on such a tremendous level independently. That's the only reason that I have given you all the information that I know to give. But I am doing a disservice if I don't do more than just inspire you. I got to make sure that I show you other ways as I'm going through it. So, in this ecosystem, we celebrate our own wins. In this ecosystem, We don't get instant gratification. In this ecosystem, we love the work. In this ecosystem, we love the kind of music we make so much, we don't care how it stacks up against what's popular in the other ecosystem. It's a different job description. In this ecosystem, you do what the hell I want to do. I do what the hell I want to do. In this ecosystem, this DIYer ecosystem, thank you, T. In this DIYer ecosystem, we don't concern ourselves with, did you listen to that last Drake album? And that's no disrespect. I think that's an amazing artist in that ecosystem, but he's not in my ecosystem. And as morbid as it sounds, if I died yesterday, he wouldn't care. So why do we dedicate so much of our lives to these folks? Yes, we're inspired by them. Yes, we love what they do. But why do we give so much of our career time to them? Why do we give so much of our validation to these people who don't know us, don't care, probably will never care, when we can do so much where we're at right now with what we have? And I think it's because a lot of people don't believe in what they have. And I get that. I completely understand that. But I think it takes sometimes, the same way it took for me, somebody seeing a vision for me that I couldn't see for myself. And I see it for a lot of y'all. That's why I pour so much into people. When it's that nonsense that comes through here, I can no longer entertain any of the nonsense. So the trollery and all of that, I cannot give you time. Trolls are in another ecosystem. I don't understand that ecosystem. If the industry is one ecosystem, the independence is one ecosystem, trolling is a whole nother ecosystem that I do not have the time. God has not given me extra time, has not given me extra emotion, extra anything to give that energy when I should be pouring into you. And that's what I intend to do. All that other stuff is other stuff. Especially after this year. I went a whole year and I didn't respond back to nothing that was said about me. I didn't respond back to nothing that was dirt on my name. And I've received the biggest blessings that I've ever received in my career, many of which didn't come until the end of the year. In this ecosystem, the goal is not fame. It is success and nothing less. And we define what that success is. We don't look for anybody else, because I tell you right now, we're living in a time now when you're independent, you're a small business. Think about how many small business feel underappreciated right now. You'll support your favorite celebrity, but you won't support your favorite. That's a trending audio right now. Because it all applies. So, I'm not here to waste any time. For damn sure don't want to waste my time. For damn sure don't want to waste your time. There's things that must be achieved, and there's things that must be done. And I know that it's not going to come without pushback, without obstacles, and I'm embracing it all. But what I can tell you, it's time to turn it up. In this ecosystem, it's time to turn it up. And you're going to be so grateful. For everybody that's in here, you're going to be so grateful. Mark my words. You're going to be so grateful. Even if it takes you this next week, this next month, the end of this year, to really give thought to what you want this career to be. Really give thought to the possibility that it may not involve that other ecosystem. And if it doesn't, what now? Really give thought to the idea that no matter what your age is, no matter how young you are, no matter how old you are, every day starts with a decision. Every day starts with a decision, and your mindset ultimately determines if this place that you're at is the beginning or the end. Please do not stop the trajectory of your career waiting for things to happen, waiting for things to come to you. If you have genius in you right now, do something with it, please. If you feel like you're better than your favorite rapper, You feel like you're better than your favorite producer? Be them now. Don't wait till you have more fans. Don't wait till you have more clout. Be that now. How do I be that now? By doing the things that people your age are afraid as shit to do. They're scared shitless. They're so scared they won't even try. But you know what they are vocal about? Stopping you from trying. That's my only hope for you. I don't have a funnel for y'all to get into. I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. I just want to make sure that I speak some life into you. If any of you are struggling with that, I'm glad that we got over 2 hours worth of 3 hours almost of encouraging words. But please stop waiting on your Picasso moment. Be Picasso now. Or insert whatever name of whatever genius that you look up to. Be that now. I cannot wait on Andre 3000 to release the album of my dreams. That's my favorite rapper. He's scared. Respectfully, my favorite rapper is afraid. He's scared. And I hope that it's not true. I hope it's not true, but I feel like he's scared. I'm not though. And everything that I admire about him, that I have within me, I should be doing right now. Yeah. That's it. Love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. I'm so glad we got to have this conversation. The best is yet to come for all of us. I guarantee you that, all right? Let's go. Shout out to the community gyms. I couldn't ask for a better community. I could not ask for a better community. It's the one for me. It's the one for me. I feel like you slept on, Curtis. I got the community I need. Look at the quality. Look at the quality. I'll take this any day over thousands and hundreds of thousands of assholes, of distractions, of other ecosystems. Any day I'll take y'all over them. This is amazing. All right. Shout out to y'all. Thank you so much. All right, so that's that. We'll be back here next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that, and then I'm on my hiatus. So we got 2 more. I got a great topic for next week. I'll tell you about it in a second, but well, not in a second. I'll tell you about it next week. Much love to you. I will see you soon, my friends. Have an amazing one. Much love. Please enjoy the content. I will definitely bring this up here so that you can revisit. All right? Be the genius you want to be right now. Right now. Right now. Cook up.